What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to Culture Popped Season 2, Episode 4. I'm your host, Josh McDonald. I'm here with my trusty Alberto Magnifico host, Aaron Sparrow.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Hello. And we also have that loser Drew, who's here because he's like, oh, hey, I'm your friend, guys. And we're like, okay, Drew. He's like, hey, guys, I make comics. We're like, okay, Drew. And then it's like, oh, my name's Dolan. We're like, fuck off, Drew.
Please take me, please. I got nowhere else to go.
No, I'm usually the one that's like begging. I'm like, look, you guys are actually smart. Can y'all come on my show, please?
Oh, sell yourself short, Josh. You're very smart.
No, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing all right. I've been running myself ragged today. You guys, we were talking a little bit before we came on the air. We're saying like this week has been hellacious, and it's only Tuesday.
Yeah, I got backstage and then sorry, my phone was going crazy. I got backstage and when I got back there, I was like, hey, Drew. He's like, hey, and then he was like, oh, and I was like, dude, tell me about it. Like, I was just talking to my mom like an hour and a half ago, and she's like, this is the longest week ever, and it's only Tuesday.
Yeah.
So feeling it. But I mean, Aaron, you've done pretty much what, 2 streams already, 2 recordings, and then a party with a friend and some work. And
yeah, so normally I record the podcast with Wes for Thinking Critical, our Patreon members. I record that on Wednesdays, but Wes is going out of town, so he's like, can we record it on Tuesday? And I was like, sure, it shouldn't be a problem. So we're recording on Tuesdays, which I'm not used to. So I was like, okay, I've got all this stuff I got to do. Then I have a business meeting at 3:00 for one of the comic creators I'm working with on their book. So we've got to do that. And just as I'm finishing up with Wes, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have time to like go get some lunch and like run around a little bit, the Gina Carano stuff hits the internet, and Wes is like, we got to do a video on this. And I'm like, I haven't had a chance to read the article. He's like, I'll read the article to you. We'll just wing it. And so that's what we did, and got the article up. And then I jumped from that. I ran out, got a sandwich, threw it down my throat, got back in time to have the meeting, which I needed to be in front of a computer for because we were actually going over assets. And then my friend's like, can you get me the stuff for the party that I'm having tonight? So, I'm a good friend. I go and I do that. Have a couple of quick bites of charcuterie at her charcuterie party, and then sprint back across the street to my apartment so that I could be here in time for this. So yeah, it's been a really crazy day.
And for those of you that think he's exaggerating by sprinting across, like literally right as I was about to hit start stream. Jesus, it's gonna be a night. He's like sending pictures, and I'm like, dude, that's fancy, like pinkies up. And then I'm like, hey, Drew, so these are the topics for tonight. Not even like 2 minutes, and I'm going to hit start stream, and then Aaron pops at the bottom. I'm like, holy shit! It was fast enough that when he popped at the bottom and I brought him in backstage, I was like, are you still at your friend's house? He's like, oh no, I'm just in a different part of my living room. So
yeah, fortunately I left everything set up for when I recorded with Wes today, because usually if I'm set up in the living room, I tear everything down at the end of a show and put everything back in its place. But I was all primed and ready to go because I knew I had to be here tonight. Lots of cool stuff happening.
Oh yeah, so much. We took stuff off the slate to add all the crap that took place today onto the slate. But Drew, we've mentioned you, but we haven't really talked to you. How are you, sir? What is? I mean, we already know it's Tuesday and the longest week ever. But aside from that, how are you?
I'm good. It's getting all my tax stuff lined up to file, which is always fun. and you got 1099s. Yeah, no, doing a lot of writing. I knocked out Nightmare Number a couple days ago. I just busted out the synopsis for issue 6, so I'm going to be working on that script this weekend. So I should have, hopefully, a first draft for the whole first arc done by this weekend.
Yeah, I've got to get you notes on 3, 4, and 5. That's my my assignment. Like, so as soon as we finish up here, I'm going to go back, have a little more charcuterie, then come back and work through the night.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what Aaron says about issue number 5 in particular, because I got some info and I'm like, dude, I want to read this so bad. I want to read this so bad. But I'm also one of those types that's like, no, don't give it to me because I want to experience it. I'm that asshole. Yeah, but no, I think a lot to talk about. Drew, you've definitely been busy. Please don't remind me again about taxes because I don't want to have to do mine. Normal stuff. Let's turn to like I said, we have a ton to talk about tonight. So I'm going to try to run through these comments, say hello to some folks real quick, and then we'll get started. Cajun Corey in the house, our first comment of the night. Good evening, peeps. Good evening, sir. We also have Max Von Priestley, which may or may not be nicknamed Bitch Von Priestley. You can ask me about that on Twitter.
What?
But yeah, have a great show tonight, guys. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Max. Have fun at class, you nerd. Aaron, late and gay. I mean, I have to be consistent with something, right? Let's not knock consistency. Late and gay. You can count on those two things.
I was referring to me, but yes.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well, fine, I guess. Sure, fine, Aaron. Make it about you. Okay.
Don't I always? Consistency, Josh. Consistency.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Of course, I had to come back and say, did somebody say slay? And Aaron responded with, Aaron, you've got to say it. Slay. Okay.
Come on, Queens.
That was a little too gay even for me, so I'm gonna move on.
That was gayer than the volleyball scene in Top Gun.
That was a great scene. I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't say it wasn't a great scene. It was hella gay.
Speaking of Top Gun, Flick's Brewhouse here in Indy, they're doing a one night only like Top Gun dine-in brewfest thing. It's $30 a ticket, $35 a ticket, and it's completely sold out. The whole screening is completely booked for Top Gun.
I thought you were going to say they were doing one night gay volleyball.
That would be interesting to watch.
Oh, okay. Remind me, one of y'all, please remind me that I need to send you a video after the stream of an all women's SWAT team in a SWAT competition. Okay, just it's priceless. You can thank me later. Anyways, we have Miss Sassy Sasquatch in the house. Josh, and a lot of kisses. Last Friday, I was on Sassy's monthly stream, Truly a Female Perspective, where yours truly was not the female perspective, but the male perspective. So I'm happy to announce that I speak for masculinity across the United States. Thank you. Just thank you.
Right on.
But no, it's a great stream, a lot of fun. Sassy got a little sassy. And then what? There was some
sassy. Is he sassy?
Thathy. She was a little thathy. No, there was a lot of alcoholic influence going on this stream, but it was a lot of fun. She was great, and it was some good conversations. We've got CLS Studio in the house. Hello, sir, or madam, or studio. How about that? Welcome. Nice to see you here. Fear Monarch. Good to see you. Laugh out loud. Fake it till you make it. It's the way of life. I mean, even in the corporate field, they're like, just figure it out or fake it till you make it. So we got Jay Lucian. Yo, everybody. Hello, Jay. We got Mike Has Bad Knees throwing it down your throat. Josh just got it. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Let's see if we got anyone else. Mark McGrath. Hello, all. And Aaron. Kneel before Doomface.
Kneel before Doomface.
We're looking at potentially a spring summer start for that, right? Maybe?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I was hoping April, but it's looking more like launching in May. But the good
Nice.
news is that if we launch in May, we'll have more done. So it's just a matter of I want to have every cover done and knocked out and perfectly dressed and everything before we launch. So it's just managing all of those timelines and those different artists and all the payouts for those things. So
You haven't shared any of the covers on social media, right?
I have actually.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have.
I
So
couldn't
if you've got
remember.
if you've got them, you can pop them up.
I don't have them, but you
Mhm.
mentioning it was like I've seen them and they look excellent, and I can't wait. Yeah, I just couldn't
Yeah,
remember if you'd posted them or not. So
there's some. So I posted two.
okay,
And then we might do some. We might do like a couple of like little special variations for different sites that are kind of like the character sheets. That might be fun. And do like a not the ones that I've made and like put up myself, but like with that art colored with like some pithy information about the character. We might do some of those, but I've got a couple of artists that are going to be delivering covers, and if they're concepts or anything to go by, it's just going to get better and better.
nice, very nice. We have the man of the cannoli household, cannoli Sasquatch himself. Hello, people. Josh, let's play lightsabers. If you want to get that joke, you got to go back and watch Sassy's Friday stream, because that's in there. But I mean, you could probably figure it out, right? Okay.
Is that like meat sabers?
Basically, basically.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm super loopy tonight because I've just been going all day. So there's no
No,
telling what's gonna.
That's gonna be perfect for tonight, though. Josh spoke from the male gaze. Perhaps. Alrighty, we are gonna jump into tonight's topics, and despite our main topic appearing to be horsemen, that's actually gonna come later in the stream because, as Aaron alluded to earlier, Gina Carano made quite a bombshell announcement today by getting on Twitter and making the statement that she is suing Disney and Lucasfilm because of what occurred to her on Mandalorian and the way she was fired. And I guess one of the interesting things about this as well is that Elon is helping fund this lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because he's sticking to his word, which honestly, good for you, dude. He's sticking to his words in terms of saying he's going to back people who were wrongfully terminated due to their political opinions or just general statements and commentary. So, Aaron, I know you covered this extensively with Wes, but I do kind of want to let you lay the groundwork because I haven't had the chance to read the full article yet. So I'm coming in just with minor details, but I'll let you.
That's how we did it earlier. We were just reacting on the fly. Wes was like, I was like, I haven't read the article yet, and Wes was like, I'll read it, and you just react to it. So I kind of felt like a little bit disjointed on Wes's stream when we were doing it. That video is up if you guys want to check it out after this. But essentially, if you guys are unfamiliar, if you guys just need a refresher, Gina Carano ran afoul of the LGBT mafia when they were insisting that she put her pronouns in her bio. And she didn't really know what it was about. So she was asking, like, what is that about? And it was explained to her. And then she was like, oh, okay, I understand it, but it's not really my thing. I don't really feel the need to do that. And then they started accusing her of transphobia and giving her a bunch of flack and just kind of like pushing back on the Twitter weirdos that were going after her. She put beep, bop, boop in her bio, thinking that it was a cute little R2D2 thing. Okay, you want my pronouns? My pronouns are beep, bop, boop. Because I'm on Star Wars. And they lost their minds. And so she was basically told by Lucasfilm that she needed to have a meeting with, like a Zoom meeting with 40 or so LGBT or LGBT adjacent employees, basically like the struggle session where 40 people were going to explain to her the way that she should think. And she was like, yeah, I'm not really comfortable with that. Like, if you want to like organize a dinner or something where we can meet face to face, I can mingle with people. I'd be way more comfortable with that than like a Zoom meeting. So that never happened. They didn't want to do that. And so at that point, she had a target on her back. And, she was doing things that were just absolutely unacceptable at the time, like questioning the COVID narrative from the government, like questioning the mandates, just all these things that anybody with any sense was doing at the time, but you weren't allowed to ask questions on social media. You weren't allowed, especially in the entertainment industry, you weren't allowed to ask questions. You just had to follow orders. And she's not the type to follow orders. So, she kept doing it. And then she put out a tweet where she was basically saying that the way, the way that things were going in the country, the way that people weren't allowing you to ask questions, the way that there was only one narrative that was allowed, the way that they were dehumanizing people who were on the other side or a different side of the political aisle, that was very much akin to the way things worked out during World War II when the Holocaust occurred, because the way that you other people, once you start othering people and you start making them like they're subhuman, you won't wear masks, you deserve to die. That was the narrative that was out there from a lot of people, and we all saw it on social media. And she was saying that like othering people is basically how the Holocaust happened, and we need to be careful about, that kind of rhetoric. I don't have the exact tweet in front of me, but that was the spirit of it. And they jumped on that and used that as a way to say that she was saying that Republicans were just like Jews during the Holocaust. That's not remotely what she said, but Lucasfilm didn't even notify her, didn't have a meeting with her. They just put out a tweet firing her, saying that she doesn't work for Lucasfilm. There are no plans for her to work for Lucasfilm in the future, but her views on, racial and political identity, just basically like they were abhorrent and unacceptable. And so they defamed her in a sense when they put that out, and they fired her and basically created this huge mob of Twitter weirdos to go after her. It basically just snowballed so that even more people were attacking her. And after a couple years now of going back and forth and of the tide turning and Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, she's now going to go ahead and sue them for not only wrongful termination, but for the defamation of her character. So I hope I explained that well.
Yeah. No, I think you explained that perfectly. Like, you gave a good rundown of the timeline of events and kind of how they happened. And it just, there's so many things about this that blows my mind. And for one, I think the obvious thing is, this core group that originally started kind of giving her crap about pronouns is the same group that was kind of here going like, trust the science for what we were being told was science during, the pandemic. And these same people are now also saying, oh, well, I mean, we have to look at more than just the science when they're talking about their, I guess, gender identity and sexuality and all that jazz. It's just so hypocritical. And I don't know. I'm glad she's finally standing up. I'm glad that she's taking a stand. I think this needed to happen forever ago. I think there's a momentum behind this thought process and belief, and I think there's going to be a lot of momentum behind her. Have they announced who they plan on getting for like legal representation?
I haven't seen any announcement of her lawyer yet, but I'm looking forward to Law Twitter breaking this down. I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of Jamal Igle, so and his legal takes. So I'll be glad to see that. But no, I am actually excited for YouTube legal our legal eagles on YouTube to go ahead and jump in on this, because I love watching like Legal Mindset break down these Disney lawsuits and whatnot. And it used to be that you could not sue Disney because Disney had so much money. There's no way that you could ever, they would tie you up in court. They would cost you, they would basically run out your finances because they just had bottomless pockets. Yeah. Well, Gina's got Elon Musk in her corner now, and Disney is bleeding from every orifice at this point. They do not have a huge war chest to be handling a bunch of lawsuits. And if this opens up a bunch of other discriminatory lawsuits, they are in big trouble. Because hopefully, what I hope for this is, I hope that since Gina doesn't particularly need the money, and Elon Musk is basically helping out with the legal fees, that they can take this all the way. No settlement. I want to get to discovery, baby. I want to see all the documents. I want to see Kathleen Kennedy's emails on this subject. I want all that stuff to come to light. I want all the corruption exposed. I want all of the discrimination within the company exposed, because I am not a Disney hater. I don't hate the Disney company. I hate the people that are currently running the Disney company and the people that are currently making the decisions. I would like to see the Disney company returned more to Walt's vision. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what I want to see. So I want to see all this corruption come to light. and I want to see it just all exposed so that we can all just we can all eat it up. And these people that that thought that they could just get away with treating people like crap, with discriminating against them for their political views, they can get ousted, and maybe this company can start edging back towards profitability again.
Yeah. Drew, I kind of want to hear what your take is on this.
Honestly, I see this as nothing but a good thing. It's been a long time coming, and it really shows just how the winds of the politics have changed from 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Because this would not have happened let alone last year, 2, 3, 4 years ago. But this has been a long time coming, and honestly, what's the line from Joker with Joaquin Phoenix? You get what you effing deserve. Hey, this is what happens right here. That's the line that comes to mind. Bob Iger, Disney, you get what you effing deserve. This is what happens.
Yeah,
and and right before they go into the earnings call too, Josh.
Yes, so right, we're gonna touch on that to a degree, plus something else in a second. But man, like this whole thing. One, Gina's just like on a month to month win. You know, she had the whole Comic-Con controversy that was, you know, people trying to get her kicked out and banned, and it totally worked against them and worked in her favor that she got an extra day because so many people wanted to see her. She's got this going on now. The one thing that I did question, and I did not question in a bad way, is why now? Like, what made her want to come forward now? And I don't know if it was just Elon Musk having some involvement. And then I was talking to Drew backstage. I was trying to remember, but I feel like someone that's higher up in Disney or involved with Disney projects that's relatively higher up, I feel like someone made some anti-Israel comments recently, and I was like, man, this kind of feels very similar to what Gina did. And instead of getting like booted or plunged, they're just kind of being like, oh well, we don't fully agree with that, but they're allowed to say what they want to say. And I'm just kind of like, dude, what the like, come on.
Because they were looking for a reason to fire her.
Oh, absolutely.
And not long after that, you know, Pedro Pascal came out with his stupid take on the election, calling calling Republicans Nazis. You know, and basically it was so funny because he was like, losers, you know, during the Civil War, and losers during World War II, and losers in, you know, 2020. And it was like, I don't know if you know this, Pedro, but the Democrats lost the Civil War. They were the ones fighting for slavery. So I'm not sure if you realize that. And the Nazis in World War II were the National Socialist Party. I wouldn't say if they were actually conservative Republicans. That doesn't really work. But again, he got to come out and he got to call half the country Nazis and suffer no repercussions whatsoever because, you know, he was on the right side politically.
Yep. I mean, if anything, he benefited from it. Like you can't go anywhere without seeing Pedro Pascal. So,
well, if he's Mr. Fantastic, I know where I won't be seeing him, and that's on the big screen in the Fantastic Four movie because I won't go.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that's the case. I do want to ask, Aaron, do you think this is actually going to make it to court, or do you think it's going to get settled?
Now, normally I would say it's going to get settled because that's just the way it works. It's like, you know, we'll give you a huge chunk of money. Disney does not ever want to be in the discovery phase. They just don't. But because this is I think Gina makes plenty of money. I think she's fine. Yeah, she could win a huge settlement here. You know, she could get a bunch of money out of them just to make the case go away. But, you know, this is a girl who is literally a fighter. You know, she does not back down. She didn't back down in MMA. She doesn't back down to the mob. She doesn't back down to people who try to cancel her or people who try to, cause problems at conventions. She does not back down. So those two things, coupled with the fact that it seems like Elon Musk might be footing the legal bill. So there's no money out of pocket. There's no chance of Disney running her out of money with a bunch of, you know, maneuvers like they normally do.
Yep.
I think that this is about exposing it. And because Elon's involved and he has quite the hate boner for Bob Iger at this point, I think he wants this to go as far as possible. And I think this is, you know, teaming up with Nelson Peltz. I think this is all. I think this is all perfectly timed. It's perfectly timed to take Iger out, to get seats on the board, you know, to show that Disney has been going in the wrong direction, and to change the leadership so that they can start making this company, you know, a family brand entertainment company again instead of an activist company.
Oh, absolutely.
It doesn't make any money.
Absolutely. I do want to hit a few comments before I start getting lost in the comments. Oh crap! It's already happening. But we had Mark McGrath, the law of M's, mountains of motions multiply mistakes. Indeed. Let's see, we got Mark McGrath again. I like Gina, but I'm glad she didn't have to headline a crappy Disney Star Wars. You know what? Agreed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
she probably dodged a bullet by not being on, those future seasons, because it started going downhill so fast. Yeah. We do have Nadia in the house. Sup? What's up, Nadia? How are you? Welcome to the show. And then Drew, this is for you, but Nosferatu is here, and he says, "I miss when Jay Bowman was on the show."
We gotta get Drew to grow his hair out like Jay has his hair all grown out right now.
Actually, my hair is kind of getting there right now. I'll turn on my camera briefly. Hold on a second so you guys can
Jay Bauman face reveal. Here we go.
Yeah, it's kind of
what?
It is pretty long for you.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I'm digging it.
Yeah,
I love it. There you go, Nos. Only for you, you undead fiend of the night. Let's see. Mark also put, as Gary often says, I'm not surprised when professional adult pretenders have weird or dumb opinions. I mean, yeah, Hollywood in general is just a hot mess.
The majority of actors are not smart. There are, you do run into some that are very smart on occasion, but for the most part, it's not a profession that attracts the brightest thinkers.
Yeah, at all. And you know what? Fair. I mean, half the people in Hollywood are not hired because of their intelligence. They're hired because of their pretty face or their body. And like, people are looking at you on the screen, so whatever. But know your place, I guess, and know when you have a relevancy to speak. And I'm not saying actors and people in this field cannot speak out, cannot express their opinions, but you shouldn't act like because you are an actor, you are the right opinion because you're famous or whatever it might be. Because most of the time we find that's not the case.
I just wish that more of them would realize that since their talent is reading lines, they might not be arriving at their opinions. They might have a lot of received opinions that they're just regurgitating, like they regurgitate their lines. Yep. Because that seems to be the case with a lot of them. Like I said, I know some actors that are very, very smart, especially as voice actors. I think voice actors just attracts a more intellectual group of people in general, for the most part. They're not quite as narcissistic. They don't, because, I guess maybe they don't want to be on screen. They actually have some humility and some insecurities about themselves. But yeah, I mean, just think of the fact. I think it was George Carlin that said, "Think of how dumb the average person is. That person's in the middle. That's the median. Yeah. Now realize that half of the people are even dumber than that." And so that's always, I always think of how dumb your average actor is, and then think of how much dumber Mark Ruffalo is, and that'll give you like a perspective.
Fair. Yeah, I will say speaking to like actors and their intelligence, the more I actually see of Gina, the more I hear her speak or see what she writes, I actually just grow to respect her more. So when Carl Weathers passed away, she put a really just, heartfelt and endearing tweet. She put that message out there, just talking about the relationship they had, the respect they had, how Favreau kind of paired them together because of their own pasts and how they kind of correlate from athleticism going into acting. And it was just such a human response that if you didn't know either of these individuals and you read that message, it's going to resonate with you because you're going to have someone in your life that you share those types of relationships with. And outside of that, even with what's going on, like Gina was just on the news discussing this very topic. And they asked her, why are you doing this? And her first response was, well, I don't have any children of my own, so I don't have to worry about how me taking a stand will impact them. And it was I'm getting chill bumps But the fact that that is her first comment out of her mouth of how she views things, but also potentially speaking for so many people who want to say something, who want to do something and refrain, not because they're worried about how people will perceive them, but they're worried about their own family, their own kids, and how they will be impacted by this. I was just like, to me, this is a profound way to start this conversation. But that she then carried on to say, I am an aunt. And my nieces look at me as a fighter. And this is kind of what you were alluding to, Aaron. And she says, I feel like I'm not setting them up for, she's basically saying, I don't feel like I'm setting them up for a future that they deserve if I don't fight for this now. And I wanted to just stay in there and keep watching the interview, but we had to come on to the show. But it was just real quick, right out of the gate, super profound things to say, really impactful. And I'm curious to see what else we learn, what else unfolds. Aaron, you mentioned Disney doesn't want anyone doing any investigating or digging or spotlighting of anything. We had the Max's Man Cave episode. We were looking at the D files. Is that correct?
Yeah.
On
Film Threat with Chris Gore and Alan Ng.
I can't help but think that some of this is probably going to somehow make its way up into these conversations as well. So
I absolutely love it. Here's the thing that really impresses me about Gina Carano. In a time where Hollywood pays a lot of lip service to women and to the idea of strong women and strong female characters, Gina actually is a strong female, not a character, but actually a strong woman. She's got more balls than most of the men in the industry, because most of the men in the industry would not take this stand, because it might cost them money. And, she just hit a point where they pushed her into a corner and she had nothing to lose. She was already speaking her mind when she had things to lose. So did you think that by canceling her, she was going to get quieter? You just unleashed the beast, because she has nothing left to lose. Everything that she has at this point is just gain. She's gained a huge fan following when she goes to these Comic Cons that they try to cancel her out of. That the weirdos like actual fandom. I don't know if I sent you the video, Josh, but that actual fandom guy actually was whining and crying that he tried to get Eric July canceled from MegaCon this weekend, and it didn't work. And he's like upset that the loss of power that these people have to cancel. Well, you know what? Suck it up, Buttercup, because that time is over. And Gina, when she shows up at a show, she's got a line a mile long. Eric July, everybody there, line a mile long. You can't get lines at Comic Cons anymore. Max and I were walking around LA Comic Con. All these writers in the mainstream that are supposedly big writers, maybe 5 people waiting for them. Maybe.
Yep.
Your Dan Slots, nobody at Tim Sheridan's table, maybe 5-6 people waiting for Chip Zdarsky at any given time. And those are the big mainstream players. Meanwhile, here's Eric July, this guy with a YouTube channel, put out some comic books and said he wanted to, put out some good comic books because he didn't like what was being produced. He's got a line a mile long.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
So the tide is turning. And if cons want attendance, it's people like Gina Carano. It's people like Eric July. It's people who, like Gary from Nerdrotic, the Critical Drinker, all these people that have developed followings by having the balls to stand up and say, I don't agree with that. And I don't care that that's not the mainstream opinion. I don't agree. And here's why. And that's attracted people. Yeah.
Mark McGrath in the comments. I think Aaron is right. If Gina stands her ground, Discovery is going to be very interesting. I agree.
Oh, yeah.
And he also agrees that the tide has turned on cancel pigs.
Yep.
Yeah. Those emails, I want to see those emails. I cannot wait. If it does get to the Discovery phase, we get those emails, that's going to make so many people look bad, like incredibly bad. And I can't wait to see who they are.
Heads will have to roll at that point.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because you know for a fact there's gonna be emails that were as damning as they were for Sony back when Pascal was sending emails being like, no, we're not gonna have a black lead or a female lead. They don't they're not good for the box office. Which people were like, oh, that's racist. I mean, was it? Sure, maybe. I guess you can say there's context there that could be construed as racist, but it was also factual. That when they had that, they didn't have box offices so strong. Now we're seeing a change because I think, different topic. Anyways, there's going to be similar stuff coming out that's like that. in these emails, stuff about females, stuff about Republicans, stuff about conservative. Like it's it's there somewhere. And if they do find it and it does come out, it's just one more like gut punch that Disney's gonna have to deal with. Like knock the wind out of them.
Can you imagine the delicious irony if Gina Carano actually, if this lawsuit and the discovery and everything that comes out actually leads to the downfall and the shaming of Kathleen Kennedy? Like she doesn't even get to leave with the beautiful golden parachute and them saying she's a Disney legend and doing all the pomp and circumstance about how great she is on the way out. Like if she actually goes out in disgrace, how delicious that will be, not only for Gina Carano, but for every one of us.
Yep. No, agreed. I mean, like at some point, there has to be accountability, right? And that goes for everyone across the board. Like, you've got to have accountability there. But my God, like these people have been running things and just, living here. Mark kind of mentions it here. We've got well-paid actors also having that bubble that they live in, also an entourage of hangers on telling them they're amazing 24/7. It's 24/7. You've got people that they're all in this hive mind mindset. Everyone's telling them they're amazing, everyone's telling them they're right, everyone's telling them they're so proud of who they are or what they've done or yada yada yada, and then behind their backs are like, that was stupid. It's just a stupid industry, stupid world, a lot of stupid opinions. We're just gonna say stupid tonight because it's stupid. So yeah, I'm glad that Gina's stepping up, and I hope to God that more people step up. We know there's going to be other people and other examples. They need to step up. These tactics, they're not new. I mean, I think we talk about them more now, and we know more about them now because of the internet. But you go back to the 50s, shit like this was going on. They were blacklisting people, cutting people out, running people off. This is not uncommon. And just because you think differently than someone else doesn't mean you don't have a right to work in this career or work in this field. So I hope to God this is just the tip of the iceberg, and we get more and more and more.
Yeah, so it's another. I mean, it's the Red Scare, but literally instead of like it's political, it's a political Red Scare for the Republican Party.
Yes, yeah. It's the red of the Republican Party. It's that Red Scare.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But you know what? It's so disingenuous because, like, just a little bit off topic, but still within. Did you guys see that? Joy Reid got busted on a hot mic. As she introed a segment with Biden, and it didn't cut off in time, and so she's all praising Biden and about how he's this great president, and here's his speech, and then the hot mic is still on, and as he starts to talk, she says something about he's going to start another effing war. And it picks up on that. So these people don't even it's one thing to be, one of the drones, or to be brainwashed, or to, not look at things critically, and to, to have beliefs and be wrong. It's another thing to be completely disingenuous and lying. These people do not even believe what they're feeding you, but that's just their job. And I would rather have a million Gina Caranos that speak their mind, even if I disagree, than have a bunch of yes men lying to me.
Oh, agreed. Real quick, we do have Gooch Diabolical Soul House. Yo, what's up, everyone? What is up, Gooch? And Gooch just subbed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you're watching this, Gooch. If you're watching this, like the stream. If you haven't subbed. We've got this every Tuesday. We've got a lot of other content that's gonna release starting in March. So a lot of content is gonna be coming your way. But this is our live show where we come and we're we've got a little anarchy, a little bit of debauchery going on. Our hair's down. Check us out. Stay tuned. Mark McGrath wants me to say don't be stupid like Rosie Perez. You know what? Give me a week and I'll come back next week and say it. I got to practice that a little bit.
Does she say it like, don't be stupid?
Is that how she says it? I've got to look it up. I can't remember. I'm sure I'll see it and be like, oh yeah. But
I could say it like Latka from Taxi. You're stupid. You're so stupid.
Hello, Mr. Josh. Don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid.
Oh man, and we're canceled just like that. I usually avoid politics. No, I have not seen this. I will look it up.
That's great.
Someone help this poor man. look, not even to be political. There are people, and we have crap. Why can't I think of names on the Republican side? Some of these guys are just too old. You know, we've got people that are
like Mitch buffering McConnell.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Like,
because I almost said Schumer, and I was like, it's not Schumer. But it's almost the point of elder abuse, guys. Like, we can do
we
better.
need term limits and we need age limits, or at least
We
like
do.
if we don't do age limits, we definitely need term limits no matter what. But we at least need like cognitive tests and administered by a third party.
Yeah. Oof. It's rough. It's rough. Maybe we'll do bring back an Only Josh stream and talk politics at some point. That's what that show's meant for is real life stuff, not entertainment.
Yeah, Joe Biden. He reminds me very much of Lloyd Bridges from Hot Shots Part 2, playing the president. Just,
Yeah. He was still confident.
Yeah. He was good at drawing his A's. He was good at doing. Is this a good A? Yeah, it's a very good A, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I absolutely love is the other day when Biden was referring to the French president that died in the 90s. Yeah, and I just talked to him, and I'm like, I'm sure you did because you got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. You crypt keeper puppet.
Because he died in like 96, right?
Yeah, 96. Man. Yeah.
Oh, look, people have gaffes. I get it. If whenever you're public speaking, you look at this show. I screw up all the time, but there's just a.
You've never said that you just spoke to Lucille Ball, though.
I mean, Gerald Ford was knocked heavily for what happened with him, but this is worse than Gerald Ford.
It's oof, man, it's bad. It's rough.
It's almost a weekly basis now. What's he going to say or do now?
Weekly, it's more like daily.
This is why I always laugh at the conspiracy theories where they're like, everybody has doubles. And I'm like, yeah, maybe for like a distance, but not for speaking, because there's no way if Biden had a double that could fool anybody, they would have that guy out in front of people. They wouldn't keep trotting out, the crypt keeper puppet and trying to make him say what they want.
Sheesh. Real quick, I want to say hello to Andrew Gonzalez. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. And holy shit, we've got Tim's talk in the house. Tim, the most illustrious man on YouTube, does live streams late on Saturday nights and then deletes them.
What?
Yeah. But if you ever want like a crazy time, just tune into his streams. They're a riot. Okay, I do kind of want to get us back on track a bit. I am going to jump forward a few topics to discuss something, and then we'll go back. But I feel like this probably segues better into where we are. But, we okay, Aaron, you mentioned the earnings call that's coming up for Disney, which is this week, right?
Yes, I think it's tomorrow, actually.
Oh, that's right. I think it is tomorrow, Wednesday. So that is tomorrow, and then I think coming up in March they have their the shareholder vote for the board. So much to be concerned with here. If you're Disney, so there are different conglomerates here. Two in particular that have. I think one is Peltz, right?
Yeah, one is Nelson Peltz in the Trian Group,
right? And then there's another group that has, of course, my brain is.
I knew the name earlier, and I've let it leave.
Same, but they both have a ton of shares, and they are rallying to try to make sure that they get representation on the board. This could be something that we as fans want, and it could be detrimentally bad for Disney. So.
Well, for Iger's regime, definitely it would be
fair.
bad.
Yeah, because this could change everything, and some of these groups have already kind of discussed what they would want to push for or try to initiate if they do make it on the board, and I don't know if it's necessarily bad things. I know that there's a push that Disney kind of should be broken up as different companies. That you have a Disney company that's strictly over like theme parks and fan experiences. You should have, Disney company that's just strictly over film and television. It makes sense because then you don't have this single hive mind idea from one person just, matriculating down to everyone that's ruining every aspect of this company. So, Aaron, I kind of want to hear or Drew, whoever wants to jump in, what do you think we're going to hear tomorrow? What do you think it's going to look like in a month from now as people get ready for these votes?
Well, I think that Bob Iger is going to come out with a length of garden hose and a pack of cigarettes so he can blow smoke up everybody's ass.
Of course.
I think that's what's going to happen because that's typically what happens. Is they're going to come out, they're going to accentuate the positive. Oh, we're doing so great with this. Oh, Hulu, we just got Hulu, and oh, look at our subscribers for Disney Plus. Assuming that they haven't lost even more, they're going to do what they always do, which is try and put the most positive spin on it. The whole presentation part is always bullshit. What you wait for is when the shareholders actually get to ask questions. And Bob Iger has been blindsided a few times, and that man cannot think on his feet. If he gets a question that he's not prepared for, he completely falls apart. And actually, sometimes he says things that kind of open them up to legal action. So I'm hoping that that's what happens. I think it's going to be a very controlled meeting. I think they're going to try to prevent any kind of negative question from getting through, and that's why these things are actually bullshit. I don't think that they should have any power over determining what questions are asked. I think that it should be the CEO sitting there, and for a good 2 hours, just the shareholders get to grill him, and he has no idea what the questions are that's coming. And if he can't answer them, then he's in trouble. That's what I would like to see. I think it's going to be an ugly meeting. I think that there are going to be questions that get through that he's not prepared to answer. But I think they're going to once again try to, polish that turd and try and make it as palatable as possible. And, try to really push the fact that, hey, vote for our white card candidates, that we put out and explain to you like your children who you should vote for on the board because, hey, they have the vision going forward, except they're the same people that have been tanking the company because the entire board is filled with Bob Iger cronies and yes men. And what you need is a board of people that put the CEO's feet to the fire when things aren't going well. And that's what Nelson Peltz and that's what this other group is looking to do is they're looking to get their people on there. I'm pulling for Nelson Peltz because he doesn't like Bob Iger. And he's got Ike Perlmutter with him, who also doesn't like Bob Iger. And I think if they were smart, they would go get George Lucas and see if he wants to throw his shares to Nelson Peltz, throw his proxy because he doesn't like Bob Iger. And now, it seems like Elon Musk is in the mix a little bit and he doesn't like Bob Iger. And I think that the main thing that needs to happen for Disney to start to turn the ship around is Bob Iger and his people have got to go.
Yeah. Drew, as someone who's polished a few in your lifetime, what do you think about this?
I could honestly see people buying tickets like, hey, you want to listen in here? This is gonna be $5 to $10 to listen in. Here, get you a seat to listen to this because I want to listen to this. I want to hear, even though I'm not a member of the board, like I want to hear how this all goes down because this is going to get good. Like this is going to be, I'm not really exaggerating, but like good pay-per-view type like verbal spats going back and forth because I want to see it. I want to hear it. This is going to get exciting. And it's like I said, they get what they effing deserve and it's going to be fun.
These people have no vision for this company whatsoever. Their only vision is ESG and DEI. That's the only vision they have for this company. It is absolutely the antithesis of creativity. There's nothing good that's coming out of this company. And you read quotes from Bob Iger where he's like, well, the worst thing that we could do is protect the status quo. I agree. You are the status quo. You need to go. Kathleen Kennedy needs to go. And the people that are put in charge need to have an idea of what this company is, a family brand that is, creates entertainment for families, for the mainstream American audience, not these niche crowds that you're going for that don't have any money, that aren't replacing the people that you're trying to get rid of by chasing off families. It needs to return to its roots and its origins. And I actually think that breaking up the company is not a bad idea. And having each division be its own separate company. The problem with that is Disney always hides failing divisions because they usually hide it under the parks, which the parks always usually cover the shortfalls of the other divisions. If you separate that out, they can't hide that anymore. But that's a good thing because it means that if your divisions aren't profitable, heads roll and you get someone in there who can make them profitable.
Yeah.
I know you're reading the chat, Josh.
I am. Sorry. I was preparing some comments to pull up in a second. The one thing I was going to add was another kind of factor in this. So one, Disney's putting out videos trying to encourage people to vote. They're trying to help kind of
for the status quo, oddly enough.
Yeah, I know. And then you've got this this activist group, Blackswell, that's also like putting information out. And it's weird because it's very much of where Disney is now. That's kind of what Blackswell is supporting and pushing. But even Disney to an extent is like, we're not gonna fully say go to this extent. So it's almost kind of like a weird caught in the middle of, you've got these two opposing forces, and Disney, it's huge conglomerate, is in the middle being like, hey, we're over here, and then that side says something like, okay, maybe not, but blatantly opposing Peltz. And like you mentioned, Peltz is getting a lot of powerful people together, and that should not be discounted, for because even if they get one person on the board, if it's someone that's got a solid backbone and can help sway votes on the board, game changer.
Yeah. So how can you have so many billions invested and you don't have a seat? That makes no sense to me. You own a certain percentage of shares and you have no seat. That makes no sense at all.
You know who doesn't own a lot of Disney stock? Bob Iger, because he sells it. He sells it when he gets it, because that's part of his compensation. So he sells it to turn it into money. Now, you would think that a smart CEO would want the company to be really, really, raking it in so that when he gets that stock, he can sell it high. But that's not what he's doing. I mean, let's be honest about Bob Iger. The dude is a weatherman. He got promoted way beyond his station. He had a good run because Disney was so profitable that he could just acquire things and fold them into Disney. The problem is, once he had them, they had no idea who to run, who should run them and how to do, anything with them. So after a few years, as their momentum started to wane and it started to fall apart, they had no vision for any of these things. So everything that he acquired is falling apart. Pixar, that their reputation is basically ruined at this point. Star Wars is hot garbage. Marvel is on the decline. Everything that he has set in motion is now reached a state of entropy.
Oh yeah.
So if he would have just rode off into the sunset at COVID, when they kind of pushed him out and put Chapek in charge, if he would have just rode it out, he could have still had his legacy and his little Ride of the Lifetime book where he's talking about what a great job he did as CEO of Disney. He could have played that out. It's not going to happen anymore. His legacy is gone. It's done. Whether or not the board forces him out or not, it's over. He's going to end his reign at Disney looking like an incompetent fool. Kathleen Kennedy, for all the years, if she would have just retired and not wanted to get her claws into Lucasfilm, if she would have just said no to that and just rode off into the sunset and retired, she would have had a great legacy of working on all these films, and no one would have even questioned it. But now, we all see that when she is in control, she has no idea what she's doing. So all of these people have ruined their legacies, which is hugely important to them because they're all narcissist egomaniacs. They've ruined their legacy, and I am here for it. I am so glad to see it, because what did we say at the beginning of this? What did Drew bring up? You get what you effing deserve.
I am going to run through some comments real quick, just to kick off these comments. Andrew, again, nice podcast, working late tonight. Thank you, brother. We try to be entertaining, but we also just try to be real. And I hope you have fun while working, and that we bring some fun into your job. We also have Imperatus in the house. Evening, gents. Hello, Imperatus. Thank you for coming in. We have Fear Monarch. I can't imagine a more focused approach would hurt. Of course not. I mean, a lot of problems that you see with corporations and companies right now is they spread themselves too thin. They don't have enough people working on things. They don't plan properly. And we're seeing it. I mean, we're definitely seeing it in film in Hollywood, where it's running rampant all over the place. And I think people have this mindset too, that if you're doing something for a pat on the back, or look at me, DEI, whatever it might be, that you should just get back or get by on the good graces, quote unquote, of what you're trying to do. And that's, I mean, we know it's a pile of bullshit. We've got Gooch. Iger and KK need to go. Yes.
I love when they said that there was no strategic, Nelson Peltz doesn't have a strategic plan for this company. I'm like, or a single suggestion on how to improve things. And I'm like, Bob Iger leaving. That's like him being on the board and pushing Bob Iger out. That's number one.
Yeah. There's also a comment to be made about having opposing opinions on a board typically leads to good things, because it creates a check and a balance, right? Mm-hmm. So you haven't had anyone balancing out this whole activist mindset going on. Everyone's just going with it. Everyone's so proud, and we've gotten the shit that we've gotten for the past 3 years, 4 years now. That it's abysmal. It's terrible. Like, we've ruined so many things. And I think when you have that other side there, you're forced to compromise. And that compromise is usually middle of the road. It usually works well for larger general audiences. I think it would be a good thing to have a little bit of both. I mean, we need to lean heavily more one way than the other, but yeah.
Just somebody on the board who'd say, hey, maybe we don't spend $300 million plus on the Marvels. Maybe $225 million is too much for a TV show on a flailing streaming service.
Yeah.
Someone displaying some fiscal responsibility.
What is that? What do you mean by that? What? Everyone's gonna come watch our stuff because we're Disney, and we put a chick in it and made her lame and gay.
Everyone on the board automatically assumes because it's Disney, they must literally have a Scrooge McDuck vault where they're literally diving, into this gold vault and having money fights like Montgomery Burns.
Yeah.
No, not exactly.
Well, and this is the other thing that's going to be really interesting about this vote, because at the end of the day, what these people genuinely care about more than anything is money. They won't say it. They're going to say the opposite. They're going to say the politically correct thing. They're going to say the things that you're supposed to say. But the moment you're losing money, or they're losing money to the degree that they are losing money, I bet you their vote's gonna swing in a way that a lot of people don't expect.
Yeah, social currency has been like the forefront of currency the last few years.
Yep.
Where's your social currency at? But still, there's the other thing about monetary. That monetary currency, the actual money that makes the world go round. That's needed. That's required. Unfortunately, unlike social currency, that's gonna catch up to companies pretty quick.
Yep. Wait, Drew, are you telling me that you can't just take Twitter likes and go in and pay your bills with them? You can't walk into the utility company and go like, "Here, I got 500 Twitter likes. There, this will cover my electric bill, right?" That doesn't work that way.
Not yet. No, not yet.
that must be why I see so many GoFundMe's.
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah.
I need a new laptop.
I
don't know who said that.
Oh, it's been a catastrophic December, guys. I need another handout till the check comes through.
Right.
Please ignore the other 11 handouts I've asked for this year, but I need another one because maybe you just don't have a good paying job, and maybe you're horrible with money, and maybe you need to do something else.
That right there, among other things. If you know, if you know who we're talking about, then you just know. We've got George in the house. Hi, Josh, Aaron, and Drew. What's up, brother? How are you? Nice to see you here. Tim's talk has a really good point here. What about the nonsense with the Ray Bay movie? Do you think the director's quotes will come up? And if you're wondering what the quotes were, it was Ray as in like Star Wars Ray.
I hope that whoever asks these hard questions of Bob Iger says, "Are you uncomfortable right now, Bob? Because I enjoy making men uncomfortable."
Yeah. But if you're wondering what she said something about it. It's time for women reshape Star Wars. I mean, what the fuck have we been getting for the past 20 plus
years? Yeah. No, right. We're coming up on 10 years.
The minute she came out with that Forces Female shirt, they have been in charge. They've been calling the shots, and we're seeing the fallout from all of that, product wise, and hasn't exactly worked.
Look, mostly. the person that they just put in charge, they just put a woman in charge of all creative.
Yeah,
Dave Filoni with her cowboy hat.
Yeah, it's the bitch tits. Yeah.
You should have measurable testosterone before you're allowed to wear a cowboy hat.
Yes.
Look, I grew up I'm from Texas.
I mean a man's cowboy hat. I'm not talking about the drunk chicks, with the deep tans and the freckled cleavage coming back drinking mimosas, flying back from Maui to Orange County. Yeah, the curled cowboy hats I'm not talking about them.
You don't consider those real cowboy hats, anyways. But I will say, there are plenty of women that I know that fittingly rock a cowboy hat.
Well, look, if you put a cowboy hat down and you said the the toughest person in this room gets to have this cowboy hat, and the people in that room were Gina Carano and Dave Filoni, she's walking out with that cowboy hat.
She's gonna be taking out everyone in that room. Like I'm tapping before she even gets to me. I'm like, tap tap tap. I'm done. I'm like, don't armbar me, please.
Oh, I'm gonna let her armbar me, especially if she does that one where she jumps up on you and takes you down. Like I'm just gonna be like, that hurt, but I'm also extremely aroused.
Actually, you're right. It would probably be worth it. Even as a gay man, I'm like, yeah, that'd be worth it.
Something's happening.
What is this sensation?
Hey, what's going on down there?
We have Bruce Jackstone. Hi, Aaron, and everybody. Hello, Aaron. I'm assuming you know Bruce. Maybe?
I do. Bruce follows me on Twitter, and we chat every now and then on there.
Heck yeah. He also put, never thought I'd say this, but Disney seriously needs to be split into 3. That's kind of what we referenced a second ago. That's one of the things that I think Peltz is wanting to do is break the company up. So
that's also how I feel about California, that it needs to be split into 3.
It really does. It really does. Let's see, what else do we have here? Apparently, Fear Monarch thinks that I'm over here reading steamy fan fiction while Aaron got to go with
steamy Steamboat Willie fan fiction.
Steamy Steamboat Willie. Ooh la la. No, I'm trying to be a good host and actually pull up comments. We joked about this last week. Well, no, it was 2 weeks ago that my internet was so bad and Aaron was saying stuff and I kept missing what he was saying. And it's like, I'm bad enough at missing what people say when I'm going through comments, but the fact of my internet's messing up. But he was like, yeah, I made a comment about something you haven't even watched. And you're like, yeah, absolutely. Completely agree.
Yeah. It was like right after saying like, oh, I haven't watched it yet. And then I go off on a point about it. And he's like, I agree.
Yeah,
I was like, you haven't even watched it, but I knew what he was doing. I knew he was watching his internet and he was watching the chat.
Yeah, and some of the sound was cutting out on mine, so I was like, dadgummit. We do have Abomination AJ in the chat. What's up, brother? How are you? Thank you for hopping in. Yeah, this is going to be a fun couple of weeks to watch as far as Disney's concerned, and I'm really curious to see how things turn out. We'll have to keep up. Zax, Joshy, hello. Is there anything else you two want to add, just kind of about this or the Gina Carano of it all, or I mean, we're talking about how the Gina Carano event comes right before the earnings call, which is going to lead to questions, but we've got roughly a month before this vote, and it'll be interesting to see the political factions that form, the conversations that happen leading up to it, and then how the actual votes turn out. So
yeah, and I really want to see who's going to come out against Gina in this. I want to see the people, because they're going to come out of the woodwork. I want to know who at Disney's going to come out against Gina for this lawsuit. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
If they ask Iger, he'll say something really dumb.
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah. You would think though that he would prepare for some of this, like,
Yeah, you would think he would know, but like whenever he starts talking, like he just, I don't know, he gets diarrhea of the mouth and he says stuff like he said stuff about the Reedy Creek improvement district when he was asked about it that actually is actionable, because he basically admitted that Reedy Creek was Disney and Disney was Reedy Creek. He mentioned that on an investor call, that basically like it was loaded with their people and they were basically employees of Disney, which is a big no-no.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, Fear Monarch agrees with you. Yeah, Gina can beat me up any day. I bet Zax would like for Gina to beat him up. Zax starts his What's Good Wednesday show with a video of Gina doing a weigh-in and then some press photos. So I'm sure Zax would love for her to jump up and, take him down and armbar him.
My friend Mike, when Mandalorian first started, my friend Mike sent me a meme that was things from Star Wars that I want to ride, and it was like a Bantha, a Tauntaun, an AT-AT, and Cara Dune.
Yeah.
if worse came to worse for Gina, she could. There's at least offer some guys she could take up on like pinning them down, with her thighs or something. She could.
Look, I mean,
Oh,
if she there's no end of guys that would be happy to be pinned at a con. You already get wrestlers who people go up and are like, "Can you do your finishing move on me?" It's so that people will be like, "Can you put me in an armbar? Can you can you put me in a rear naked choke? Can I be naked when you put me in a rear naked choke?"
I mean, hell,
like in Watchmen, the guy that would follow the heroes around, punish me.
We even joked about this coming up for Dallas of like, if she's there, we should all get a group photo with her and then like have me in a headlock with a rainbow flag. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna jump back a few slides now. To kind of discuss other areas where Disney is just failing miserably. But some of the stuff that came out today, aside from the Gina incidents, is Daredevil. We got some costume leaks for Daredevil Born Again. And I'm trying to think of where I want to start with this.
Welcome to Party City.
Oh, man. Like, look, aesthetic wise of this Daredevil costume, I like that it's more red. I like that it's starting to go more into that traditional costume look. But man, this fit is freaking sloppy. Like, I was talking to Drew about it, and Drew was like, it looks like you've got a fat cosplayer in a Daredevil costume. And I'm, this Charlie doesn't look fat here. But he definitely looks a little puffy, and he usually doesn't, and he's not. But when you see him moving, this suit is very loose on him, and it just looks cheap. It looks sloppy and cheap. And then when you look at freaking Bullseye, I mean, look, I get that this is probably intended to harken back to season 1 of Daredevil. He's got the same tactical pants on. He's got the boots like Daredevil had. He's got like the Under Armour shirt, and then he's wearing a ski mask. But even this looks so sloppy compared to what Charlie wore in season 1, or even in season 3. Because I sent our group chat, pictures of like, dude, Charlie just looked sleek. They made it look better somehow, and this all just seems not great.
I mean, these are stills, and they always the stills kind of always look bad. And sometimes in action it looks better, but yeah, these look really bad.
It looks like you pulled it off like I don't want to say Walmart or Target costume list, but like an expensive cost, maybe like a expensive Halloween costume store.
Your high-end Spirit Halloween store. Yeah. And it's kind of weird because we keep getting these costumes that it's like made by actual Hollywood costume makers. And I'm like, I know that you can do better than this because I've seen cosplayers that build this stuff in their house that do better than this. And for Bullseye, we're going to harken back to season 1. Yeah, that's great. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Okay, no. First of all, Bullseye has already worn the Daredevil costume. Yep. If you're going with the, if you're saying that the Netflix show is canon, he's already worn that costume. Who was that costume made by? The Gladiator. That's the guy that makes the costumes. So you just have Bullseye go get a costume. You mirror the Daredevil costume, but you do it in black. And then maybe you do the little white part at the top and you give him the mask with the open face and, put the bullseye on his head. It's going to look 1,000,000 times better than this piece of shit over here that Neon said looks like a Cobra vehicle driver. And I said, yeah, it looks like a motor viper without his helmet or his flak vest. It just looks like the undersuit of a lame Cobra figure when Hasbro stopped trying, like in the mid 90s.
Oh yeah. Now, Drew, you got excited about this, right? You were like, "Oh, best costume ever!" #.
You're confusing Drew with Kyle again.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. In our group text, you got me confused with Kyle. It happens.
I'm joking.
Similar views. I know. Yeah, this is a piece of shit. I am not looking. It's like, the more and more I see of this show, the less and less enthused I am about this. It's like initially I was excited because I saw Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio wearing suits, walking in the streets. I'm like, oh, great, they're back. And then I heard about the Punisher storyline for the series, what they're going to be having him do. And I was like, oh God, no, please don't. And then I see these costumes, and I'm just like, I'm almost tapped out. I this is not what I want. I mean, look, Daredevil is supposed to be acrobatic. Nothing about that fat suit Daredevil looks like he could even do a somersault. I mean, I don't buy it. I don't buy that suit. That guy is Daredevil. Period. At all. Whatsoever.
Are we sure this isn't Batlin Jack? His dad is Daredevil, because look at how high that waist and those pants are. Look at how high that looks. It looks like an old man with his pants all pulled up.
It gives him a weird body shape. Like we had the West's, Twitter chat, and I was like, dude, why does it look like Phil Noto drew this version of Charlie Cox? Because he looks
who is
short
the worst. Look, I know Phil Noto has his fans. Sorry, you got me on the Phil Noto rant. I fucking hate Phil Noto. I hate his artwork. I think it's garbage. If there's one guy who should not be doing superhero comics, it is Phil Noto. Okay, good. Got that off my chest. But
I will say he does great covers. If you had him as a cover artist, sure. But his interiors,
yeah.
I think he was good for like doing like Darth Vader and stuff when he was doing like some Star Wars covers. I think those were good. But yeah, like the superhero stuff, I don't think his style lends itself particularly well to some of the superhero stuff. And this just looks so bad. Like if you told me that this was a guy's homemade costume from a Comic-Con, I would totally believe you. And I'd be like, well, he's doing pretty good. And I'd like to see what he comes up with in a few years when he's really mastered his craft.
Yeah, speaking of which, Aaron, that Daredevil costume you just said, it reminds me of a photo of a cosplayer who's wearing this fat guy wearing a Wolverine costume next to Stan Lee. That was like it was like 2 sizes too big. It's like, okay, this guy's clearly out of shape. I see if I can find the photo. I'm sure you guys have seen it at one point or another, but it looks comical. It's bad.
Yeah, this stuff it does not look great. Couple of comments here. Andrew Gonzalez. Oh no, yeah, it's not great. And look, what I will say is Aaron, you mentioned stills versus in the film. With a lot of these comic book films, they tend to CGI the costumes as well. Like clearly not fully CGI the entire costume, but they'll do stuff that makes it look more form-fitting and tight and everything. We could get that. We this is definitely just a reaction to what we're seeing in this still, but it's not fantastic. Fear Monarch kind of saying what you said as well. The right looks like an action figure from Temu. Left, Snake Eyes from Temu. Yeah, just oof.
Nosferatu said Daredevil built like a Pixar mom.
I had that one.
I just sent a photo. I sent a photo in our group text. This is what that Daredevil costume is reminding me of.
Oh, I've seen this. I'll tweet this. I'll tweet this out after the show. So check out Twitter when we're done here.
Ooh, way to synergize, Josh.
Yeah, I know. Synergize. Jamin D, what's with that black rubber looking tilts? I'm assuming you're meaning Daredevil. His boots are like a shiny black leather, which I think also makes his costume look weird. It just breaks him up in really weird ways.
Where's the DD on his chest? Can we go back to that, please? Can we get that back on?
Bingo.
There?
Yeah, bingo. That was one of the first things Drew mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not there. And that's what I'm pissed off about. And that's why, I know this movie is not held in high regard in any way, shape, or form. But at least with the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, at least we got the double D on the fucking uniform. So I'll give the tip of the cap to the Ben Affleck Daredevil film for the costume.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot argue that. They took more reverence with the costuming and trying to I mean, look, Bullseye looked like a retard with the imprint on his head, but at least
I will take that. I hate that went
I'll
into
take
the
that over
comics
this.
too.
Yeah.
Yes, they did in the Kevin Smith comic. I remember that. Yeah, Daredevil Bullseye the Target, though the one issue that never got finished of the story. But yeah, I would have gone with that. I'll go with that over this shitty attempt at a Dick's Sporting Goods costume.
Yeah, it's rough. Fear Monarch, that's Bullseye. Nah, give me the Target forehead goober. Yeah, I agreed at this point. I mean, at least it looks unique and special, and this doesn't.
Well, and you have a story reason for him to wear the bullseye costume too, because he was in the Daredevil costume. So remember in the Affleck movie where Colin Farrell says to the Kingpin, "And I want a costume."
Yep.
And you're like, cool, this crazy guy would want a costume after meeting Daredevil. But then they just never give it to him, and you're like, oh man, I wish they would have given him a costume. You have that perfect reasoning here too. Like he was in the Daredevil costume. He wants a costume. Give him a costume, not whatever this is.
But it also makes sense too, is like him leveling up, because when season 3 ended, like he actually got his mutant abilities. Like he got those like he had great aim, but he was just a good marksman in the show until the very end, and then that everything kind of kicked
give him
in.
the adamantium spine,
like like I'm just like, come on, like we had such a good setup and we're just pissing it away. Tim's talk, the red looks kind of off, too bright. It could be the lighting. I do think it's the lighting. I will say I lightened both of these pictures a little bit on my own just so you could see them better, but I didn't alter the coloration. But yes, the red is brighter. I'm not opposed to it, and it's part of my problem with the red in season 2 of Daredevil was it was a darker red, and then in the darkness of how they filmed that, it was hard to tell that it was red. I'm okay with this being that red, especially once you get the filtering and the lighting right. But it does look like Charlie's wearing lipstick there. I'm not going to lie.
He has soft, kissable lips.
Soft, kissable lips. Where is Jana at? Didn't Jana say that she would, she's got a thing for Daredevil?
Daredevil's like, I'm bringing you in. And you're like, no, I'll never. Oh,
look at those lips. Okay. Maybe. Zach, spoil us on Daredevil, Daddy. Oh yeah, slay queen.
Maybe he just kissed. Maybe the reason is it looks like he has lipstick is he just kissed Typhoid Mary right before Kingpin went boop on her nose.
Boop. But you know what? That's it. That's got to be it. So, we've got Jamin D. Are they not allowed to use the Netflix costumes? No, they can. They pulled the Netflix costume out for freaking Echo. Like, I'm just. That Disney's like, oh, we're clearly gonna do it better.
We're gonna put our stamp on it, which means we're gonna drag our balls right across it.
We've got the Breen. Why is Kick-Ass and Daredevil?
Thank you, Breen. Thank you.
I mean, pretty much. You're definitely not wrong. Just make it green, and you got Kick-Ass for sure. But yeah, we're talking about how bad this costume is. And
CW costumes look better than this.
Oh, they do though. They really do. They really do. It's sad. It's sad when CW costumes are better than this. When CW's production budget was way less than what Marvel and Disney are doing for these shows and films.
Smallville costumes were better than this. Jesus, whatever Green Arrow costume was better than this.
Yep.
Breen and Zax are in a competition to see who's going to kill me with laughter. Breen said, all chests look better with double Ds.
Oh, there we go. I was like, where is it at?
And then Zax says, how will this impact season 2 of Echo?
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Man. Well, we're talking about how bad these costumes are. And there's some artists that have already hit Twitter and other outlets today to kind of be like, look, all you had to do was this. And it's shit like this.
Oh my
Boom.
God.
Like this automatically just looks better. And it's fitting for this universe that we live in. And look, it's kind of, you still have this kind of echo between Bullseye and Daredevil. And it's kind of hard to see because it's small, but he has the bullseye on his forehead. It's almost like a gray to counteract with the black, and instead of being a bright white. But I'm okay with that because at least it's embracing the actual costume, and both of these are. And you can't see the Daredevil, but he's got the double D there, and it's kind of there, and it's also a little faint. But my God, this looks so much better than what we're getting.
I like the design element too. Like they put a design element in the shirt, the tactical shirt on Bullseye that looks reminiscent of the white part of the costume.
Yep.
You know, it works. It looks realistic, but you know, it looks like it's kind of real world. Now, I would even say go a little further. Like I don't mind Daredevil being kind of armored up, like the costume from the Netflix show. I do
Yeah.
kind of dig that costume, but give Bullseye something similar. You know, you could use this version, like this design, but just give it that more armored look like Daredevil has, and it would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
But
Drew,
the
what are
fact
your-
is, you gotta have that mask. You gotta have that mask, and you gotta have the bullseye on the head. That is key.
Yep. And yeah, it's just across the board. This is so much better. Drew, I want to hear your thoughts on this because I do feel like it's a happy marriage between what we've come to expect from these Netflix style shows, these street level shows, versus what the actual costume is for the character.
Yeah,
So what do you?
the minute you showed me these, I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly what it should have been, and that's going to cost you next to fucking nothing to make. I don't get it. I really don't understand why they're really trying to veer away from the actual costumes in the films and the TV and the comics. It's like, why? You've already shown you have the Avengers in their full-on costumes and armor and outfits. Like, why shy away from that? Embrace it. Hell, Titans fully did. We got to see Hawk and Dove in their fucking costumes that I never thought we'd see, and which were comic accurate. It's like, you mean to tell me you can't do a comic accurate Daredevil costume? What the? That should be the cheapest costume to make. Same for a Bullseye. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I want to get in their train of thought. I want to get into the costume designers. Like, why? Why not veer more into the comic for the costumes? Because I really don't get it.
The Bullseye costume that they're delivering reminds me of 90s comic book movies when they were ashamed of the source material.
Yep.
You know, and so like I use this example all the time, but I'm like, back in the day when it'd be like, hey, we're gonna do a Flash TV show. And you're like, oh, cool. And then they'd go, do you like Deadshot? And you're like, yeah, I like Deadshot. And they're going, well, Deadshot's gonna be on there. And you're like, awesome. And then they're like, yeah, and every time he kills somebody, he cuts a little mark in his flesh. And you're like, well, that's Victor's ass. That's not really Deadshot. And they're like, and he rides a motorcycle. And you're like, okay. And then they're like, and it travels through time. And you're like, what? This isn't Deadshot. Where they just like, and they just like do some stupid costume where they'd be like, hey, you want to see King Shark on this show? And you're like, yeah, that sounds crazy. And then they're like, all right, here he is. He's a mobster that wears a shark skin suit. And you're like, it's not King Shark. What are you doing? That's what this Bullseye looks like.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, yeah, speaking of which, real quick, what Aaron just said, to piggyback off of, the Generation X pilot is more comic accurate with their costumes than this.
Oh God, that was so
I just
bad.
said that.
That was so such a bad.
The Emma Frost costume, the Mondo costume at the end, those were comic accurate compared to this shit. That's all I got to say. I'll give them the tip of the cap.
Nick Fury,
That was like
Nick Fury,
1996.
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with David Hasselhoff had more effort put into it than the actual Daredevil design of this shit.
100.
Oh
Nightman.
my God.
Nightman was more comic accurate.
Oh my God,
TV show
Nightman!
accurate than
Yes.
this.
God, I miss the Ultraverse.
Yeah. Oh man. Drew, you mentioned Titans, and I hate that show. I hate
Yeah,
that
me
show.
too.
But
Yeah.
they do have good costumes on there. The Robin, the Nightwing costume, they were both really good.
The
You mentioned Hawk and Dove.
Aqualad costume
Yeah.
was fucking comic accurate. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And the Doom Patrol looked great. And like, you can do it. You can.
Yeah.
The Robin costume looked great. I don't get it. I do not understand why not do it for this.
And since you mentioned Hawk and Dove specifically on that show, I've never really looked at Hawk and Dove and their costumes and been like, man, they look badass. But on that show, they were fucking badass. Like, they're badass. Yeah.
Hawk, I mean, the Rob Liefeld Hawk and Dove run, that's probably some of my favorite stuff he's ever done. And how he drew Hawk, he looks.
Well, he's retired from it now, Drew. So forget it. You're never getting it again.
Yeah. But the Hawk was such a badass, and Alan Richardson as Hawk, he was fucking Hawk. And just seeing him like knock the lights out of Dick Grayson in season 2 or 3, whatever it was awesome. I loved it. Just walk straight up to him, just punch his lights out is great. But just it's stuff like that. You can do it. You can lean into it. I don't understand why not. I really would love to ask the costume directors, designers of this show, why not? Why did you do this?
Yeah.
Are you guys afraid?
Uh,
Are you guys scared that it's going to be too comic accurate? You don't want to do that? I don't get
Well,
it.
they told the costume designers, "Hey, don't look at the comics." Just like they tell the writers, "Don't read the comics. Just make
Yeah.
something up." And that's why, like for the tour de force that was Echo, you got well, it's just really like what kind of things are part of the story that we want to tell. Well,
Yep.
here's the thing: I don't give a shit what story you want to tell. When you call the show Echo, I expect it to be frickin' Echo.
Mhm.
When you call a show Daredevil, I expect to see Daredevil in the show. I feel like now we've hit the point where when Marvel Studios was, when you had the checks and balances of Ike Perlmutter over Kevin Feige, you were actually getting some comic accurate costumes. You were getting stories that were from some of the, or at least inspired by some of the best stories that had been in the comics. You had all this to draw from. And as soon as Perlmutter was gone and Feige was fully in charge, you got All New, All Different being forced in. And All New, All Different was never successful in the comics. And it hasn't proven successful in the movies either. You skipped over 70 years of good stories to get to these shitty stories and these characters that no one likes and that are unmarketable as they exist right now. And even then, you go in and you tinker with them to where they're not the same characters. They're unrecognizable. And the costumes that you used to adhere to, the reason the MCU took off with fans is we were like, holy shit, that's Captain America on the screen. That's Thor. That's Black Widow. That's Iron Man. Oh my God, this is great. It wasn't like going back to the X-Men where they're like, everybody's going to be in black bondage leather because the Matrix is really popular. We think the costumes look stupid, and Bryan Singer is a sex pervert. It's like those are the reasons that you got those X-Men costumes. And when you got to the MCU, we were finally excited that they weren't embarrassed of the source material. They were embracing it. We got Guardians of the Galaxy, for God's sakes. No, do you think that Marvel, as it stands now, would be like, I don't know, a raccoon and a talking tree? That'll fly, right? No, because they'd be like, well, what sexuality is the tree? Can the raccoon be a woman of color? It's like, I don't know, it's a raccoon. It's a boy in the comics. Yeah, but what we really want to do is we really want to make sure that we check these boxes over here on the ESG form. That's where they're at now. And there's no care in any element of production of this thing. We were all excited because we were like, oh, but they're bringing back, it seems like they got some showrunners that might do a good job, and they're bringing back the fight choreographer, and they're recognizing the Netflix canon. It seems like they've recognized their mistakes. And then you see this bullseye costume.
Yeah. It's like they keep taking like two steps forward and then 2 steps back. Like we get information like, fuck yeah, that's good news. And then we get stuff like this and it's, oh God, I don't know again.
Yeah.
It's like whiplash.
It's like MC Scat Cat, Josh. You
man.
do 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
We're talking about a different type of scatting. That's where
the Vince McMahon type of scatting.
Oh, Aaron, we missed you so much last. I don't know if you've watched that show, but oh man.
I haven't watched it yet. I actually felt really bad because we moved to the Wednesday and I was like, yeah, Wednesday's fine. I can do it. And then everything went to hell and I couldn't do it. And I was like, as I was doing what I had to do on Wednesdays, or on Wednesday night, I was like, they're talking about that whole Vince McMahon scandal. And I really feel like I should be a part of this.
We were saying that. We're like, oh man, Aaron is missing it. Aaron should be here right now.
Like, because we knew you would have had just perfect comments, but look, life happens, by all means. There have been nights that I've been like, guys, I can't do the show because of life. So no hate on that part, but just know you're missed. And we verbalized it a few times and be like, God, Aaron, we wish Aaron was here right now.
Oh man, maybe we can revisit it the next time, the next thing that breaks on that, and then you'll get my full unvarnished opinion.
Oh yeah,
on Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
We're gonna get more. There's already more stuff slowly starting to trickle out, but it'll happen.
It wasn't slowly trickling out that night, my friend.
Oh God, no, it was not. Fear Monarch Titans, wasn't that the fuck Batman show? Yes, it was.
Yes,
terrible
it was.
script, terrible writing, solid costumes. I think the only storytelling that I liked about it was the Hawk and Dove storylines. Everything else was just shit.
Season 1 was garbage. They had one good episode with the Doom Patrol. Season 2 was better, not by much. It was better, but when they got to the Deathstroke stuff, Jericho, and the Hawk
Yeah.
and Dove and Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing. That was all good stuff. But season 3 was fucking terrible with the Jason Todd becoming the Red Hood, and then season 4 went off a cliff with gay Dick Grayson or gay Tim Drake.
Oh yeah,
falling
I
in
didn't
love
even
with
watch.
Connor Kent.
Oh, they worked in Megan Fitzmartin's fan fiction.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Yep. I didn't watch it. I also didn't like Vincent Kartheiser's Scarecrow. I thought that was weird for season 3.
Yeah, there were some very weird choices on that show, and I will never understand them. But Hawk and Dove was the one thing they got right. See, season 2 was as closest to a good season that they had. I'll say that.
Yep. Agreed. I want to move on to another Disney topic. This will be quick, but another Disney shortcoming that was kind of announced or discussed, and Disney's moving forward with another Pirates of the Caribbean movie. They're moving forward without Johnny Depp, and they're moving forward with a lead female.
Hooray!
Wow. Yay!
Yo ho, a $200 million loss for me.
Look, I'm gonna say this. A lot of people thought that the downfall of the Harry Potter series with Fantastic Beasts was a result of J.K. Rowling. I think we've seen that's not it at all. Everything else Harry Potter that has come out has over exceeded expectations, right? But you had two main factors impact that new series. One, the writing and stuff just wasn't as captivating and good, but also a lot of people boycotted the moment they recast Johnny Depp. Like a lot of people, I'm out. And I get this was pre-trial, but instead of kind of hitting the pause button and waiting to see what happened and letting the trial happen, across the board, they made Johnny Depp the villain. He was kicked off the Harry Potter series. He's kicked off Pirates. Like it was bad calls, and people kind
Persona
of
non
expressed,
grata.
people expressed their opinions. And you would have thought that after everything that's come out, where Amber Heard is very clearly the villain, and that's not to say Johnny Depp's perfect. He's got his issues, but he's always had his issues. But
for me, like when that whole thing started and so many of his exes came out and was like, Johnny is gentle and he never raised his hand to me, and like all those people came out and said that that's just not part of his character. Not that he's perfect, he's got drug problems, he's got addiction problems, he's a little bit spacey and out there, and obviously he chooses very, very poor, it makes very, very poor choices of women. But it became clear, like to me before the trial even hit, that like this feels like a big bag of bullshit. And then once the trial came out and you saw how much her story kept changing and how, inconsistent it was, and what a terrible job she did of convincing you that anything she was saying was true on the stand. It was just an absolute clown show on her part. And it turned public opinion. This is why you don't rush to judgment. This is why you say, okay, well, let me see what's here. Let me wait for all of the facts to come out. And the facts did come out, and people were unresoundingly on Johnny's side after that.
Yeah.
He was vindicated.
Yeah.
Look, for me, when you look at Pirates of the Caribbean, it's not Pirates if you don't have Captain Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp. Like, to me, it's just not. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't see a way forward that you're going to have something that feels true to form. It's kind of like this, they're trying to do this whole Buffy revamp. No offense. You don't have Buffy without Joss Whedon. Like it just they don't work. And I feel like this is dead on arrival.
Or Christy Swanson.
You shut your fucking mouth.
Well played, Drew.
Dirty little whore.
I do love me some Christy Swanson as Buffy, though.
Sure. You're wrong, but sure. No, I'm kidding. She was fine.
Okay, if the Superior show had never come out, you would look back fondly on the Christy Swanson Buffy movie as just a little kitschy movie that you watched back in the day, and it would be perfectly fine. And
I didn't like it though, because
No?
that was part of the reason I didn't watch the show for the longest time. I didn't start watching that show until it was in season 3, and the only reason I watched it is because I had friends that were like, no, you need to watch this. You need to watch this. I was like, because I watched the
My
movie with my
aunts were
brothers.
watching it, but my
Yeah.
aunts and my mom were watching it. I'm like, what the hell, Mom? I couldn't believe it at the time.
But can we say that the problems with the Christy Swanson movie were not Christy Swanson? They were script problems.
Oh,
I remember seeing it in
absolutely.
theaters and going like, this was, I mean, I was entertained, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be when I saw the trailers. When I saw the
Yeah.
trailers, I thought it was going to be a lot more kind of subversive and a lot more clever. And there was some good moments, but there was a lot of stuff that just wasn't very well executed.
Yep. Yeah. To kind of focus back on Pirates of the Caribbean, Tim's talk, what happened to Margot Robbie taking over this franchise? I think they announced that they went ahead and moved on. I think they went separate ways. I think the moment the Barbie thing kind of came into picture, it was just like, okay, we'll leave this behind.
I think she got real expensive real fast.
Oh, I think she got real expensive real fast, but I also think too, because is this Warner as well? No. Harry Potter is Warner. Who has Pirates?
Disney.
Oh,
Disney.
it is Disney. Fuck, that's right. Jesus Christ. Just stop. Oh, what? Look, this is how off I am today. I've got this, and I'm like, speaking of Disney, and then, oh, man.
Josh, you have taken the Lord's name in vain over a Pirates movie.
That's right.
For shame.
I mean, you got to think about like how many billions of dollars has that franchise brought in? I mean, film wise to the theme park ride, toys, everything. I mean, and
he used to show
is
up in the
never-
park as Captain Jack and just wander around, and people would be
and
like,
talk to fans, talk to kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I mean, as much as I don't care for the films, he is incredibly charismatic. And no matter how quote unquote charismatic this lead actress is going to be, it's not going to come even close to Johnny Depp.
No.
Well, she's not going to be charismatic, Drew. She's going to be diverse, and that's more important.
Yeah, stunning and brave. True.
Stunning and brave. I've got to, well, first of all, Drew, you don't like the Pirates movie? Like, you don't even think they're fun?
They're okay. I mean, they're not great. I didn't really care for them when they came out. I was stationed in England when they came out, and so it's kind of during that period when pop culture was it's like how Richard Meyer talks about. There's a period of pop culture that he missed. Like when I was in England from 04 to 06, there was like a window there of pop culture that I was excluded from, and the pirate films were some of those.
Yeah.
And
Mine was Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah. I was all on the Power Rangers train.
No, see, I had discovered girls. So, and girls weren't in, like the girls that were my age weren't into Power Rangers. So it was like, you know, I did, however, know about Kimberly. So
we all did. Oh yeah.
I never quite discovered girls. I don't know what happened there.
Well, you know, the Green Ranger walked in and you were like, say what?
No lies detected. I have to address Senor Limp Dick over here. Flaccid Phoenix, never watched Buffy, never will. Are we talking about the movie, the show, or both? We might have words, sir. We might have to have some words.
I saw someone was dissing your girl Sarah Jessica Parker, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Horse face?
I mean, look, I don't care if you like or dislike Sarah Michelle Gellar. To me, I think Buffy's bigger than her as an actress. I really don't know much about Gellar as an actress, but
I love me some Allison Hannigan. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I love me some Spike. Actually, you know what? All of the nerd girls that were on the Joss Whedon shows, that tended to be like my TV crush.
Oh, for sure. Like so, Allison Hannigan, yes, but for me, especially Winifred.
Fred. Yeah, Winifred, big time. Yep. Amy Acker is so cute. I even watched like Hallmark Christmas movies that she's in. They're not good.
No, I don't
None of those Hallmark Christmas movies are good. But like you're just like, oh, Amy Acker, and I love her in Cabin in the Woods. But then again, I love everybody in Cabin in the Woods.
There we go. We are getting a little late, so I do want to go ahead and move on. Oh, fuck. I forgot this was in here. Real quick, since we're talking about studios and bad decisions and everything else, Super Bowl this Sunday. Well, first off, who are we rooting for?
Who's playing?
It's San Francisco and Kansas City.
No. Oh, God. So San Francisco versus the Taylor Swift team. I don't have a dog in this fight.
Drew, what about you?
So I've been a football fan since
NFL fan since I was a kid, and I'm going for the 49ers because I like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. He was the very, very last draft pick in the NFL draft a couple years ago, and he's about, if he wins this, he'll be the first Mr. Irrelevant to ever be a starting quarterback to win the Super Bowl, and especially within 2 years. And the only other person that was lower than that was Kurt Warner, who came in undrafted into the NFL. But yeah, what he's doing is a very remarkable thing, and he's making the NFL league minimum as a quarterback. Granted, it's still a lot of money. He's making like $980,000, but still, that is the league minimum as a quarterback for 2 seasons. He's made it, and last season he took him to the NFC Championship game. Now he's about to take him to the Super Bowl. Regardless, he's going to be getting paid at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Drew has convinced me with that story. I'm going Niners.
Go Niners. Look, I'm kind of torn. So Patrick Mahomes, he is a hometown boy. He's from Tyler. So for that aspect, you like to see people from where you're from succeed, especially when you're in smaller towns. But they've won a number of times. Like they've had their spotlight. Also, there we go. See, Flaccid knows. Josh just wants to watch Bosa. Of course, that's my guy. Like, I mean, yeah, we've discussed this on other streams, but we'll leave it at that.
You mean, are we talking about Pirates again? Jeffrey Rush?
No, Nick
Bosa. No, you're talking about Barbosa, right? You got that Jeffrey Rush crush.
Jeffrey Rush. That needs to be a T-shirt. I've got that Jeffrey Rush crush. Oh man!
See, when you start doing channel merch, that'll be one of the T-shirts.
Yeah, one of the shirts is gonna say "Get Popped" instead of like "Get Fucked, Get Popped."
Oh, see, Zach's had a good one there. Zach was saying that Flaccid just can't handle hot girls like Amy Acker or Faith. Yeah, Eliza Dushku. Oh my God, Eliza Dushku, so gorgeous.
Eliza,
she's only gotten hotter as she's gotten older. If you watch, I was watching her on one of my favorite shows, Banshee. She's in that last season. God, she is fucking hot in that show.
I loved Faith on the show, and therefore I loved Eliza Dushku because of that. But then when I lived in LA, I got to meet Eliza multiple times to the point where I got to have 15 to 20 minute, 30-minute conversations with her. She's super chill, super kind. All the respect in the world to her, because she could have easily been like, "Oh, don't talk to me." She wasn't. She was open, and like we would sit on a table, not at a table, but on a table, talking about film, and she was moving into producing and stuff. I love her to death.
That's how I feel about Amber Benson. When I got to meet Amber Benson, and like I was chilling with her at Mel Kalo's barbecue, and we were just sitting on the porch of his house, just shooting the breeze, and she couldn't have been like more down to earth. She's a really nice person.
Yep. Stacks, I hope they talk about how athletic Mahomes is. Are we talking about that dad bod video picture, whatever that was ESPN posted? The fact that he came in and commented on it was pretty funny. He's got a very prissy walk, though. My mom even commented, she's like, "He walks so prissy."
Yeah, if you watch his, I mean, you said it, but like if you watch his hand motions, and how he walks, yeah, it's like, it's very different. I would not have expected that, but yeah, he's got an interesting family. His dad got busted for another DWI. Yeah, it sounds like he's going to prison for a while. Yeah,
how come he's going to prison for DUIs, but our assembly people out here keep getting popped for DUIs and they're not going to jail.
Texas, baby, Texas. Anyways, the whole point of really bringing up the Super Bowl is a 30-second ad spot for the Super Bowl costs $7 million.
I mean, I guess this is the Super Bowl to do it. I feel like people actually care about this Super Bowl. I mean, it seems that it's been becoming just slightly more irrelevant each year, but this year I feel like it's actually got a chance to be pretty big.
Yeah. So, fun fact, Aaron, I don't know if you followed the ratings for the NFL, like the playoffs or whatever this year. But the playoff TV ratings these are the highest they have been since 1989 of people watching the playoffs. And so I think Roger Goodell is expecting the commissioner of the NFL is expecting over 200 million people to be watching the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Is this the one where is this the sporting event where they're going to do the Black National Anthem?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Oh, I'm so glad I don't care about football. How exhausting.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm not looking forward to it either.
Well, can everybody can like all the white players take a knee? Will that be okay? Or will they get in
One
trouble?
would hope so.
Okay, so wait, fill me in. What is this Black National Anthem? What are we talking about?
There's a legit actual Black national anthem, and they've been playing it at NFL games, NBA games, and
I don't know
some
if I'd say
collegiate
it's
games.
legit. I think that we have one national anthem. It's the recognized national anthem, and it is for all people. I don't like this division. I don't like this divisiveness. You know, if the Black national anthem is better, like if it's just like if it's got, you know, a funkier bass line and you can dance to it and people are just more into it, then sure, let's replace it and let's just make that the national anthem. But this idea of like two national anthems as if we are a country that's divided by the amount of melanin in our skin, I think is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's all you're saying. By having two national anthems, you're saying, okay, we are a divided nation. Got it. Period.
We're
Thank
different. You are different. You are different
Yep.
than us. And what did we say earlier about othering people?
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, I didn't realize this was going on. This is stupid. I do not support it. However, that being said, Flaccid is asking if I can please sing the gay national anthem, and you know that's unfortunately something we'll have to save for another week. Flaccid, I apologize.
Which Judy Garland song is that?
I mean, Somewhere Over the Rainbow is probably the closest thing.
I was hoping it was "Come On People, Come On Get Happy."
Oh well, we have to be miserable. Like, we're gays. We have to be miserable. We have to. If we don't have something to bitch about, but yeah, like I get that more people are watching Super Bowl this year. I get there's way more eyes. I just don't see the point in spending this much money for an ad. I maybe it just depends. So I'm looking at this from a movie perspective of dropping trailers, because you've got all these studios that are planning to drop the trailer during the Super Bowl, 7 million for 30 seconds. We're not seeing. They did this last year with The Flash, and look how that worked out.
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring that up.
They did it with Black Adam. Look how that turned out. Like it's just, to me, it's a waste of money. You're gonna get as much traction if you just drop it online. If you didn't put your trailer in the Super Bowl and you dropped it online during the pre-show and did the hashtag with Super Bowl in it, or Super Bowl Sunday or whatever, you're gonna get just as many eyes on it.
This is a waste of money. Going out to Comic-Con and doing the panels where you bring out all the actors and you pay them to be there. It's a waste of money. It's like the internet exists for a reason. Just drop the trailer online. That being said, I really, really hope that Fox has a second Madam Web trailer that they're paying $7 million to have us watch on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, you mean
really
Sony?
excited about that. Sony, yes.
Can't wait.
Can't
wait.
I don't think so. I'm trying to remember what Sony is supposed to have coming out. I can't remember. There was a there's a list.
Woo!
I mean, look, what you can expect movie trailer wise, you're most likely getting Deadpool. Like that's pretty much a given at this point.
Does Disney have $7 million to spare?
So is there an official title for the film yet? Is it Deadpool 3 or is it Deadpool Wolverine?
They haven't announced it yet. They released a logo. There's rumors that it's going to be Deadpool versus Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine. There was conversations about how they don't want to. So there were recent conversations about executives recognizing the backlash that happened with Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, and that forced them to pull back from a Deadpool Kills the Multiverse.
I don't know. We would actually love that at this point because the multiverse sucks. The Justice League doesn't suck.
That was my thought exactly. So
you know what it should be? It should be Deadpool and plus Wolverine forever, and then a little heart that's carved out by the claws. That's what it should be. Remember, like when it was like Batman and Robin, or it was like Batman Forever, and it was like, and then people were confusing them when they think back, and they'd be like, I don't know, like Batman and Robin Forever, and you were like, no, it wasn't a love story. Calm down.
It's not a love story. Stop ruining my Batman.
I'll tell you what a love story is, man. Grease. That's a love story. That's an actual conversation that I heard. This is how long ago it was. It was like back when video stores were a thing. But I was in a video store, and this guy was saying, this Cholo guy kept saying to his girlfriend, Like she's like, what about this? What about this? What about this? Like she clearly wanted an action movie. It was so weird. But I think he was looking to get laid because he was like, no, I want a love story, man. I want a love story. How about Grease? That's a love story. And I'm like, is it?
Yeah.
Is it though?
Flaccid, will Deadpool show that Taylor Swift is going to be in it? I am willing to bet that if Taylor Swift is in Deadpool, she is. They're going to put her in the trailer for a split second. You would be stupid not to. Just
Is she going to be in the Disco Dazzler costume or the blue costume?
Oh God, I hope so. I hope so. I hope so.
Please be Disco Dazzler. I mean, I don't want okay, when Marvel Strike Force released Dazzler and it was Disco Dazzler, I was like, oh, screw you. When Marvel Legends released their first Dazzler figure and it was Disco Dazzler instead of blue costume Dazzler, I was like, screw you. But in this Deadpool movie, Disco Dazzler, come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Embrace it.
It would seem like it makes the most sense for this. So yeah.
Roller disco Dazzler. Yes, I want to see her rocking the roller skates, singing and putting on a light show.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting. But look, just to move on because I do want to touch just two more topics before we end the night because I think they're relevant and need to be discussed. Come on. 7 million, too much. I got charcuterie. I got charcuterie waiting for me, man. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Okay,
I'm starving here.
David Leitch. I spelled Leitch wrong. It's Leitch. I was in a hurry, but just so we can all have a laugh. We've already announced or discussed Jurassic World movie coming out. David Leitch just got announced as the director. They haven't started filming yet. The only thing that's done is a script, and it's not even completely done. It's mostly done. No casting, nothing. But guess what? This film is coming out July 2nd, 2025.
Sure, why not?
If you don't know who David Leitch is, he did Deadpool 2. He did Atomic Blonde. He was a co-director for the first John Wick. It just seems like a weird, are we getting fucking velociraptors that are ninjas with rocket launchers? Because that's what I'm going.
I've sold on that. I'll take that.
So.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it just seems really, really weird.
Look, at least I feel like at least this Jurassic World won't be boring. And the last Jurassic World was so boring.
Fair.
I was like, how is this a movie about dinosaurs? And I am so bored.
Because it wasn't. It was about locusts.
Yeah, it was about locusts.
Point where I felt like I was watching
Tim Cook wanting to
episode.
yeah.
More than once. And they ruined the legacy. Look, I'm not talking about this. This is going to piss me off. All
Sam
right,
looks so sad.
So Rippaverse announced their new comic, HorseMAN. I'm going
to say it HorseMAN. I'm always going to say HorseMAN like Spider-Man.
Anyways, look, the book is getting a lot of criticism because of the name. Because let's be honest, Horseman, however you want to say it, Rippa had a whole video discussing the reason it seems weird is because you're pronouncing it as Horseman. Like who does that? It's Horseman. It's horse. There's not a dash in there. I'm like, okay, what about Batman? You fucking retard.
Oh damn, you're mad about this.
I'm just look, you gotta have a point. Look, I respect Eric. I like Eric, but you gotta have a point where you stop trying to defend every fucking thing and just acknowledge, I understand your complaints here, and just leave it at that. Just move on. Just say, hey, look past the name. We got a really good story that we're pulling together for you. And Chuck Dixon does a really good job with street level heroes. He's supposed to be brutal. I'm on board. But me saying hey, you should have workshopped that name a little more. I don't need all the fucking Rippaverse groupies coming after me oh, what's wrong? You jealous? No, I'm not fucking jealous. I'm just saying pick a better name. You're only hurting yourself.
I even feel just a little bit of the Last Horseman or, because, you think Horseman in this context and you think the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
So he's one of the horsemen. He's horseman. He's not Horseman. He's Horseman. I think it needed a little something else. You kind of could have predicted the way that people were going to react to this and the way that it was going to roll off the tongue. And yeah, I don't, that second picture though, it kind of upsets me because, there is something in Doomface that's similar.
Oh no.
And it's going to be, it's going to seem like I'm making fun of Horseman. And that was not my intention, but yeah, it is in there. There's the horsey gang, which
well, we joked about the name because when this announcement got made, we were kind of in our group chat talking, and we're like, "Oh, what's a sidekick gonna be like, Pony Boy?"
Stay golden, Pony Boy.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Who's the villain, Elmer?" And then they've got the glue warehouse, and yeah, it just the horse face also reminds me of the Evil League of Evil from Dr. Horrible sing along blog.
Bad horse, he rides across the nation, the thoroughbred of sin. He got the evaluation that you just sent in. It needs evaluation,
man.
so let the games begin. I love every song from Dr. Horrible.
Oh man, I'm clipping that. I'm clipping that.
I mean, I can do a better
Sheesh.
version for you if you want.
I mean, we'll get there. But yeah, look, are y'all excited for this? I mean,
Chuck Dixon, like that's
Chuck
what
Dixon.
that's what like okay, if I saw HorseMAN on a shelf by anybody else, probably wouldn't give it a second look.
right.
Honest opinion. Chuck Dixon being attached, then I'm like, okay, well, it's worth checking out. Is it going to be another $40 book from Eric? Because I don't feel like I don't want to spend $40.
Nope.
I can tell you that. I would rather just wait for it at a
that's what it's
con
gonna be.
and hopefully get it cheaper. But yeah, if that's the price point, then I'm probably not in for it. Even though I really support what they're doing, and I will say that unlike a lot of people that are in crowdfunding, Eric actually employs people and
Yep.
gives people jobs, and so but as a consumer, does that make me more likely to cough up $40 for this? Maybe a little, but probably not. Just because things are financially tight right now in the country. I think it's tough. It's a tough ask. $40.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In general,
Yeah,
it's
that's on the
and
low
look.
end.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, there are general quality concerns based on the first two ISOM comics. I think Alpha Core stepped it up a little bit, but the story also wasn't like knocking it out of the park. And again, when you're paying $40, you want top tier. I think the conversations around these books would be a little different if people paid $5.99 or $4.99 for it versus the $40. So it's there. But yeah, I feel like Eric tends to be so defensive when people just give any type of constructive criticism on things. And even in this video, he pulls up like, it's not, I didn't even create the character. And it's just like, dude, at that point you're saying, well, it's not me. So, but then you go on and
Not
defend
my
it.
responsibility.
Well, I mean, there would be people obviously that'd be like, "Oh, this is this is the best you can do, Eric," and he's like, "This isn't from my imagination." You're not. So I kind of see it from like, you can't take that tact with me and just dismiss it on that like, "Oh, you created something dumb."
But it's also the whole like when you're saying, oh, I didn't create this character, you're saying like, whoa, don't come to me. But it's also your publishing line. Like if you have an issue specifically with the name, change the name.
Ivan Sanchez has a point. Is like it did when I first heard it. It did make me immediately think BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, I had that. Yep, I had that highlighted to get to it. But I mean, you're not wrong at all. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that having Chuck write it, I think you're guaranteed a solid story. So I think this may be more than the main ISOM book, or even what was the one that just came out? Alpha Core. How was Alpha Core? Have either of you guys read Alpha Core?
I did. It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was the better of the three books so far, which really isn't saying much, but it was okay.
Well, maybe this will be the best book because it's like the fourth. It's like things are getting better and now like I think Eric is surrounded by people. He's not just an indie guy out there now, kind of just trying to create a universe that when he's never really done it before. He's got like journeymen like Chuck Dixon. He's got people coming in, so maybe the universe will continue to evolve and get better. But yeah, it's just $40 is a tough ask.
It's a really tough ask.
Yeah, and that's just in the low end. Yeah, I mean, if you look at those like the breakdowns, like if you want, there's like $70 versions, or $100, $300 versions. That's 40 is just on the low end.
Yeah. Tim's Talk put the villain will be Cowboy, Rogue Man, and Saddle Girl. That could actually be kind of fun.
No, you know who the villain should be? The villain should be a dinosaur named Saddlesaurus.
I was gonna say it's the brander. It's got like a brand, like a metal brand. Just there you go.
Zebra Man will be his Joker.
That's where I was going. Unfortunately, there is a Zebra Man already in DC Comics, but
no, this is tough because this does immediately lend itself to a lot of jokes.
Right. That's kind of my point. You can't get mad that something lends. Just if something, you got to be self-aware enough to know, hey, this lends itself to jokes. We're probably going to catch some jokes, and if you're fine with that, fine. But then don't get defensive about it.
Oh my God, Fear Monarch! How much would I have to pay you to have the intellectual property rights to the name Cowpunch?
That's awesome.
Oh.
Just a villain that just goes around just punching cows like Mongo and Blazing Saddles. See the fourth. Okay, so Fear Monarch also said the fourth horseman, and that's one that I thought of too when I first heard this. Is like, give it like a lead in. I think it would just horseman by itself is easier to make fun of than like if you were like the fourth horseman, because then that you also are kind of creating like a mistake. Oh well, what happened to the other three? Like immediately as a reader, you're like, this guy's the fourth horseman. What happened to the other three? What's the story about?
They're dead. Flaccid man, I want a horseman's main fear to be fear of horses, and he's bringing this fear to criminals, aka Batman.
Please tell me a horse jumped through his window one night. It's like, criminals are a superstitious and cowardly lot, and then like a horse jumps through the window. I shall become a horse.
I shall become a horse.
We were gonna do that. We were gonna do that in Darkwing at one point, like because okay. I had pitched us doing a book called The One True Origin of Darkwing Duck, and it was a 4-issue series. And I wanted to get Tad Stones to come in and just write 4 different origins so that the name was totally like a bait and switch. Because the show, he had multiple origins because it was just like whatever they wanted to do, whatever they thought was fun. So that'd be cool to have like 4 different ones. But the conceit that I wanted to use was Goslin asking how he became Darkwing, and then him telling her these 4 stories. And then at the end, she's like, oh, come on, what's the real story? And he's like, Darkwing Duck must forever be shrouded in mystery, give her the BS answer. And then you cut to the actual origin, which is him like sitting in the chair, Batman style, going, criminals are a superstitious and cowardly lot. And then just turning and going, and I have all these gas guns and fancy hats. And it was just a wall of like hats and gas guns. It's like, that's how simple it was.
It was that simple. Aaron, in regards to Cowpunch, all yours, baby.
Yes, Cowpunch is happening.
Cowpunch is happening. I feel like we needed to bring this up. We had someone mention, I'd have to find it, but they're like, aside from the name, it sounds interesting. Aside from the name, I'm on board. I am on board. I just wish they would have workshopped a little bit. And don't get mad at people. Don't get mad at people make fun of the name. It's right there. And as Aaron said, it didn't really take much. Just add something to it, tweak something to the name, and you're fine. But they didn't. So
this is what I do as an editor. If you guys need editorial, anybody needs editorial, this is what I do. Is I just look at what you've got and I give like little tweaks, or I suggest things that maybe you didn't think of. Like today when we were on the call for Brotherhood of the Wolf. We're about to start the art on issue 2 because issue 1 is basically wrapping up. And so Wes asked me, he said, like, I'm rereading my script for issue 2. And the intro, it's getting across a lot of information that's important. I think it's interesting enough, but it doesn't really feel like interesting enough for Aurelio to draw. Like I feel like he's going to give it some dynamic angles and things like that, but I don't feel like he's going to be excited drawing it. Like, how do we address that? Because it is kind of like an expositional part. Like you're setting up the rest of the issue, but how do we make it more interesting? And I said, okay, well, what if this character, while this is going on, is having these flashbacks? And like I laid out, like without giving too much away, I just kind of like laid out these little panels that could be interspersed throughout this exposition point of the story that not only gives Aurelio something cool to draw, and that he can really dig into, but also now informs the main character and gives some of the main character's backstory and some of their motivation, and hopefully draws the reader more into that character. And And he was like, yeah, let's do that. And Aurelia was excited about it too. So it was just like one of those things where it's like, sometimes it helps to have somebody that have an editor or at least some good friends that you run some stuff by and they go, I like this, but what about this? Or if you go, I wrote this, but there's something missing. What is it? And your friend, because they're outside of it, they're not in your head with it where everything lives. They can look at it objectively from the outside and say, maybe do this, maybe try this. And then you're like, oh shit, yeah, I should do that. And accordingly, Cowpunch. We're all sitting here making HorseMAN jokes, and here comes Fear Monarch with Cowpunch.
That's right, Cowpunch. Moo. Someone asked, we were talking about the price point and being $40, and then someone mentioned like, shipping on top of it. Zach's put Jamie knows $35 to Canada per ISOM issue. I emptied my cart.
That was just for the shipping.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
Canada's rough.
And per issue,
Canada,
how does that
England,
make sense?
Shipping overseas is ridiculous. But what's one thing I've seen working at Comics Elite, just how much it costs to ship something to Canada, England.
I get it, but why is it 35? Like, why are you not just shipping? Like, if you're getting 3 issues, why not ship all 3 issues with that $35 shipping cost? Why is each issue costing you $35 in shipping?
Oh, you're saying like it didn't combine shipping?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's just stupid. And then Tim talked to answer your question. So he's thinking about ordering ISOM 1 or ordering ISOM 1. Do you think if Eric would break these up into like 3 or 4 this book into 3 or 4 parts where it was like $10 a piece and people could sample it? I don't see him doing that. So each issue is like what, 60 to 80 pages, right, Drew?
Yes, I think issue 1 is at least 60, and then issue 2 is around 60 to 80. But yeah, it's just the pacing is not perfect. That's all I gotta say.
And he would have had to like kind of plan it. Yeah, like plan it to like here's where an issue break will be.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If anything, down the road you might get like a collection of the books that kind of help lower the price. But if Zach is getting charged $35 shipping per issue, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, that's too much. That's not.
Well, it's because you're in Canada, Zach's, and your prime minister, he needs that additional tax money so that he can buy more shoe polish for his face. So,
Zach's, you're that close. I'm gonna come visit. What's up, shoulders? Yeah, I'm curious to see. Look, in this, I say this, genuinely. I hope he succeeds. I want this book to be good. But call off the dogs. If someone says quote, they probably should have workshopped this title a little more. It's stupid that fanboys are raging about that. Like, just calm the fuck
I mean,
down.
it's a name where you think DC or Marvel hasn't come across this name, thought about doing this name at one point or another,
and we're smart enough not to do it, right?
Yes.
DC and Marvel, guys. DC and Marvel.
I guarantee if I go up to Jim Shooter at a convention and ask him, "Hey, did you ever consider or think about the name Horseman for a hero or a villain?" He'd probably be like, "Yeah, it sucked." But I'm just guessing at that point. But I'm probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you would even maybe go into the individual names of all kinds of different breeds of horses and find something that sounded a little bit cooler.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's a type of horse called Hunter. Like, go for it. I don't know. Just
the metallic stallion.
Warhorse. Warhorse.
Oh yeah, Warhorse would have been good.
Horseman, unstable vengeance.
Oh god, Fear Monarch's brilliant tonight. You know what? No, I'm calling it quits. Fear Monarch is funnier than me tonight, and he's in the chat. That cannot stand.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. We're gonna move on to our final topic because it's getting super late for Drew. This will be brief, just an acknowledgement. But we had a someone super influential in the comic industry pass away. So Jose Delbo, who's an artist that is I would say mostly known for Transformers and Wonder Woman. He did pass away. Drew, I'll let you kind of cover this a little bit because you're the one that brought it to our attention. Was it yesterday, the day before?
I think it was the day before, but yeah, this is pretty sad because he was a longtime legendary artist with DC and Marvel. That's what he's pretty much known for, I would say. pop culture wise. Yeah, his work on Wonder Woman and Transformers. I mean, his Transformers work, covers and interiors. He did a lot of work on the Transformers. I completely forgot just how much he did, and it's pretty damn good, his art on the Transformers. And his Wonder Woman work, very, very recognizable. I think he was actually one of the first artists to make $1 million on an NFT of Wonder Woman, like literally, I think 2-3 years ago, which is ridiculous, which is pretty wild. But yeah, he's had a very well published career, and from what I understand, one hell of a guy. And yeah, we're down one great artist. It's a shame to hear this.
Yep, and it's a shame. Like I one of the things that I'm looking to do, and Breen's going to be a part of this with Joe, is really look back at some of these classic comics, because there's so many names that just don't get the recognition that they deserve. And I feel like Jose kind of falls into that category of, if you go mention his name to general audiences or even comics fans these days, they'll have no idea who he is. And
yeah, the other name when he passes, I mean, it's only gonna be a matter of time. Unfortunately, it's Jose Luis Garcia Lopez.
Yep,
he's gonna be the one name. I guarantee you, people don't know the name, but they know the work, especially guys our age. It's like, if you don't know, oh yeah, no, you had those bed sheets, you had those toys, you had that wallpaper. That was all his art, baby. All the Batman, Superman, DC stuff, that was him.
Yeah.
Well, if you're an assistant editor right now at Marvel or DC, you don't know who Walt Simonson is. So, you can't. It's unfortunate that so many of these guys that like gave so much to this industry just don't have the recognition and don't get it, while they live, much less when they pass. So it's sad to see. I loved his run on Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's sad. It's sad to see the work that people do and how influential they are to industries, and even to stories that we're getting in films and I should say we were getting in film and television. And they just don't get the recognition they deserve. It's kind of a crime. Ending the night on a bit of a sour note, but just be aware of people. That is the business. To keep from being too sour, we did have a few comments come in about the name for HorseMAN, but Zach said, "Dude, call your comic Thoroughbred."
The Thoroughbred of Sin?
Why Sin? Where did Sin come from?
Because that's Bad Horse. He's the Thoroughbred of Sin. He rides across the nation, Josh. The Thoroughbred of Sin.
There we go.
And Felicia Day even says that when he says something about when he mentions Bad Horse, and she goes, "The Thoroughbred of Sin."
Zach's also put Stallion, only if he's Italian. And then Tim Talk, of course, coming in with Stallion. Perfect. We need a slogan, though. I expect you two to workshop a slogan for me for
horsepower.
Horse.
How about the Rapscallion Stallion? Let's bring Rapscallion back.
Rapscallion.
Or the Rap Stallion. The Rap Stallion. And he has a hip hop career too.
That's right. Oh, watch this guy have a hip hop career. Oh my god, I'm gonna cringe if this character does.
I don't think Chuck Dixon is like, I know from all my time with hanging out with Dre, I learned a lot about the rap scene. Incorporated into HorseMAN.
Incorporated. IJP Mexican hopped in. I just got here. Why are we sad? Because you haven't been here, Mexican. That's why.
Yeah, like the whole stream we've been just talking about. Where are you? We expected you to be here, and we were worried, but we're glad you're okay now, so that we feel better.
Yeah. We're just rolling out. Nothing can break the stallion, because you break horses. There we go. See, that works.
The unbreakable buck.
There we go. I mean, that sounds kind of gay. Like not gay as in lame, but gay as in like shirtless men doing things.
Well, I mean, I understand that's from Tim Sheridan tells me that there's a huge untapped market there.
You might be onto something. Shit, I just lost the comment. Oh, thoughts on the costume? I think the costume is fine, but the costume makes me think of more of along the lines of like Anubis with a weird face mask that doesn't look like a horse, even though it's supposed to be a horse.
I need to see some other images of it, because I don't visually, I don't quite understand it like the way it's drawn right there.
Yeah, it's a little strange. But yeah. All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up so Drew can go get a little sleepy sleep before he has to get up and run like 30 miles in the morning because he's special like
No,
that.
that's in the afternoon. I gotta be at the
Oh.
office first.
Gotcha. But yeah, Drew, I'll let you go ahead and if people want to find you on the internets, where can they find you? Because you're not on Twitter.
Negative. That's right. If I were on Twitter, I would not be getting anything done. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Dolan Waddick. You can find me on Instagram, Dolan_Waddick. I'm always posting stuff comic book related because that's all I'm going to talk about.
Hell yeah. Facebook. I do have his Facebook link in the chat. Aaron, where can people find you?
I don't know. Does anybody really want to find me?
Of course.
I am here on Tuesday nights, obviously, with Drew and our fine host Josh. You can find me this Saturday on Comics Aficionados. Josh, are you on this Saturday, or are you? Is it when you're not?
I need to. We're having some work issues. I may or may not be, so I got to get back to Wes. I was supposed to do it today. And
I hope that you're there. And then let's see. Do I have any other appearances? Maybe Max's Man Cave if he decides to do one this Sunday. I'll be there. Aside from that, I'm kind of taking the rest of the week off, but you can always find me on Twitter making fun of stuff and pissing people off. And yeah, that's and I'm also on Instagram if you want to come over and look at toys that I'm painting or any other nerdy stuff that I do.
Nice. As for me, you can find me at Joshua L. McDonald on Twitter or at ByPopped for the Popeye Culture Twitter handle. We are here every Tuesday for Culture Popped. Next week on Monday night, we are filming something for a new series that I haven't fully announced, but I've teased that Drew is potentially involved. I did not tease that Aaron is involved, but Aaron is involved. But we have some new fresh faces coming in as well. So I'll say that if you're familiar with Nadia and Shield Wall of Dragons, they will also be joining us. And what we're going to be discussing, well, you'll just have to wait and see. But we're going to film and record Monday. That way I can have plenty of time to do some editing. And then along with that show, I'm going to have a series of shows with Joe Corallo. And we'll have both of those full announcements coming up within the coming weeks. And then
is it gonna be Gaze on Film?
No, not quite. Not quite.
Will you give things 2 snaps up?
Two snaps up. Hey, we gave it 3 snaps up.
What?
But no, so definitely things in the works. They're gonna be landing in March. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. And thank you for coming in. Like I said earlier, if you haven't liked the stream, like the stream. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Like, what do you have to lose? You just get to see us, come and be idiots and speak truth every Tuesday night.
Listen, we're just organ grinder monkeys here for your entertainment. There's an Italian with a little thing. He's playing music, and we're dancing around with our little hat, hoping that you put a nickel in it. So please press the like button.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do on Tuesday nights? Watch Disney Plus? What's wrong with you?
Oh my God.
Ew.
Yeah. How dare you? Anyways,
Echo season 2 coming soon.
Hashtag make it happen. No, seriously, thank you guys for tuning in. Chat, thank you so much for being awesome as always. You definitely make this place a party. And on that note, we are gonna sign off.
Get the fuck out!